Ross Chastain had a moment there. Did you watch?
Not much, no.
I watched. I mean, you know me. I watch a lot of this.
No.
I watched probably the last 40 laps.
There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
Well, he crashed. Yeah, I mean,
Yep, that's it.
he
Miller,
caused it, but I thought after the
and
post, the guy goes, "Hey,
Molten.
look, there was an opening there. He was
Southwest
closed.
Florida's
But
Fox
there-
Sports
what are you
Radio.
supposed to do? You're intense
All
and you're
guests
running that
appear on
hard.
the Goldberg
You guys-
New Abraham
I don't blame him
Butler,
a bit.
Goldberg-law.com.
All right. We're all rooting for. Gordon was really spoke highly of him. But
Now,
I
the
thought
best
Gordon was great
local
on the last
sports
lap.
show this town has ever heard.
Hamlin got way
Here's
out.
Miller and Moulton.
And then Newman got
You're live. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? On this Tuesday after the President's Day weekend, thanks so much for being with us. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. We're streaming this and every show on the station as we always do at foxsportsfm.com. And we are broadcasting many a place, including, make sure to download the Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. How was your little 4-day break?
Well, I mean, it was good. It was like you. I worked some of it. You worked a lot of it. I worked Friday. I worked Monday. You know, we both have several jobs, so I just didn't get up early. As early, I should say. Particularly on Friday. I really...
Did you?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was kind of nice.
Good for you.
But, I mean, like 7 o'clock, 6:45. Monday, I was up at 6. You know, but it was 6 is even nice versus 4:40, 4:45. But, yeah, all in all, it was a welcome little break to check out a little bit, not have to worry about so much. So, no, it was nice. How was your drive?
Well, it was quite the weekend, and yes, I've done virtually nothing but work since we were last on the air. There's no question. Had a 4-game FGCU extravaganza.
How many did they win?
2-2. 2-2.
So the men lost Saturday and the baseball team lost?
Yes.
All right.
I flew to Atlanta on Thursday after our show, and the men won at Kennesaw Thursday night. And then
Here's what I want to get to.
Okay.
Because no offense, and I don't want you to get mad at me. I don't care so much about the games. I
Right.
care a lot about the travel. Okay?
Okay.
I don't want you to take that the wrong way. I don't want that to come off as flippant or rude about FGCU. I'm more worried about David Moulton because the game ends Thursday.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Well, you got over pretty quickly.
7 o'clock start.
I mean, they
Yeah.
got that sucker in. All right.
9:15.
So did you leave towards
Immediately.
New Orleans after the game?
Immediately.
How far did you get?
Mobile.
That's pretty close.
150 miles away, yeah. Yeah.
What time did you get to Mobile?
Got to Mobile in the 2-ish in the morning range. So, and then pulled over, slept at a place right near Hank Aaron Stadium, not too far away, and then completed the drive the next day. Had to get up early though. Had a radio show before the game, so I had to be set up in the booth by lunchtime. So I didn't get a chance really to sleep in. Although for me, I mean, I got 6+ hours sleep. I slept great.
So then the baseball game ends at like what, 1 in the morning?
Well, it is.
I mean, according to one of our listeners who said they got into their car, so many good texts during the vacation. That gentleman said, "Get in my car, turn on the radio, and Biggie D calling college baseball on Valentine's Day at 10 p.m. His wife should worry."
Wow.
Yes,
I have to
she
admit,
should.
It sounded better in theory than it went in practice. John Cassio said to me on Saturday, he goes, "How you doing?" I go, "What do you mean, how am I doing? I'm doing fine." He goes, No. How you doing? I'm like, "John, what are you getting at?" He goes, "Everybody I know that knows you is convinced that you're getting a divorce."
Yeah.
If you're doing college baseball on Valentine's night.
Well, and I mean, And your poor wife is posting pictures of Rufus all dressed up in its Valentine's outfit because she's with the dog
I know.
home alone on Valentine's Day. I mean, I'm trying to be nice because I could call you names. I just want to get to the travel. That's all.
Right.
You got a long ways to go to make up for this one, I think.
Well, it's funny. There wasn't a whole lot of protest in advance, but I think once the weekend started developing, that this wasn't a bad idea in theory, on paper, but it became a bad one in reality.
Let me take a quick sidebar to tell you a very short story about true story about a friend of mine. He's been married a couple of times.
All right.
And this is marriage number 1. He was younger. He
Number one.
He played softball on like a Friday night, and didn't
Right.
make it home until Sunday.
Now that's a problem.
Right. And he comes in the house,
Sunday,
morning, and he knows he's in trouble.
you think?
And so he walks in and he says, "Hey." She just looks at him and she goes, "Can you do me a favor?" He goes, "Sure." He goes, "The wheelbarrow's out in the backyard. Could you put it in the garage for me?" He says, "Yeah." So he goes and he gets the wheelbarrow.
Right.
And he's walking it to the garage, and he's like, "Well, dang, that wasn't so bad. Wheelbarrow to the garage. Hey, I might even get lucky tonight." He gets the wheelbarrow in the garage, and he comes back in the house. And I swear to you on my children, this is the true story. He looked at his wife, and he says, "Wheelbarrow's in the garage." She says, "That's great. Now get the blank out." And that was it. The marriage was over at that moment.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to warn you that 3-day trips, whether announced or unannounced, can lead to problems.
Okay.
But-
it's good to know. Good to know.
So then you drove.
Well, hold on. This is a college baseball game, so this thing's not over in 3 hours.
Of course not. No, because at one point, the person who was worried you were going to get divorced was almost divorced himself because he had to work the baseball game up until the 11th hour until someone bailed on him. And trust me, you had not only your house, but another house very upset about FGCU baseball.
Right. Well, and Toe was going for career win 600.
Oh,
So, it was
if we'd have started with
It
that.
was a momentous occasion. And they lost late 4-3. Good game, though.
I
Good
bet.
game.
I bet.
So I'm in the parking lot. And remember, this is Central Time now. Atlanta's Eastern Time Zone. So then we're doing the Central Time Zone thing. And, this is a 3.5-hour ball game, Mark. So it's 6:30 to 10 Central Time. And by the time you get packed up and all that and down in the car, and, it's 15, 20 minutes after 10 o'clock Central Time. And now I got to get to Nashville.
Right.
I got to get to Nashville.
How
for
far is
early
Nashville
Saturday
from New
afternoon.
Orleans?
It's a leisurely drive.
9?
No, a little. No, it's less. It's less. It's basically the drive Atlanta to New Orleans. It's basically the same drive. They are. Kennesaw put it this way, which is a half hour north of Atlanta. Kennesaw to New Orleans is basically New Orleans and Nashville. It really is.
Okay.
It's 7.5. It's Macon. That's all.
Right.
It's leisurely. So I got to Tuscaloosa after the game. I got to Tuscaloosa.
531.6 miles, everyone.
Yes. I figured I'd put 1,100 miles on the rental. All right, that's what I figured I'd put. And I did so in... but here's the funny thing, Mark. I got really good night's sleep. I did. Every place. And I'm not talking 3-4 hours. I slept 6 to 7 hours everywhere. I did.
That's great.
So I felt fine.
That's great.
I felt fine. And then did a doubleheader Saturday afternoon in Nashville. All right. Women won, men lost. And was home midday Sunday. And did another couple of radio shows for places elsewhere.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Happy Valentine's Day.
I got to admit, it doesn't sound very romantic. Boy, when you put it that way. 4 games and 3 radio shows in less than 100 hours. Man, that doesn't sound very romantic. Makes me sound like a bad guy.
No, and you last week, took me down. when I said I was going to have dinner with the three ladies in my life, my wife, my mother,
Right.
and my daughter. And I
Right.
mean, you
Yes.
cursed me.
No, I didn't.
And
I
told,
did
what
not.
are you doing?
I
Your
did
daughter
not.
gets every day.
I did
This
not.
is for your wife.
I did not. Okay. At first, I just said, "Hey, listen, it's too many at dinner there." All right. Valentine's Day's for the special lady in your life. I go, you figure out a way to, put the other two together, and you got to go and you got to do your thing. And then you said, well, it was my wife's idea. Okay. All right. Then that's fine. You're off the hook.
Made my mother cry.
Right. Okay.
God's
All right.
honest truth. My mother cried. She was so happy that she had Valentine. It meant so much to her that we did that my mother had tears in her eyes.
Okay. That's great. It's fantastic.
I mean, just.
I'm happy for you guys. That's
I mean, next year, I've already told her this whole wife, mother, daughter thing.
Yeah,
that we're
it's
not
gotta
going to be
stop.
together. I am going to drive to New Orleans and then Nashville because what
See?
love is FGCU.
Now, see, if you're going to be like this, all right, if you're going to be like this. But it was one of those deals in which, see, and don't get me wrong, I probably shouldn't have done it. All right.
Really?
But I got to admit, my wife is not, it doesn't have to be Valentine's Day for us to do something, but we don't have to do something because it's Valentine's Day.
Correct. I mean, Valentine's Day in your household, we've known in past years was times where edible arrangements were sent.
Yes.
Very passive aggressive holiday in the Moulton household.
It really it's I mean, not every house is Valentine's Day a hallmark moment. I mean, it's very come see, come saw in our household. It is. So, you know what? Next year, though, I have a feeling that, I'll keep it in mind. I'll realize what I did in 2020 and then maybe in 2021.
I want you to realize
Stay
it
a
when the
little closer to
FGCU
home.
schedule comes out. That's
Yeah.
what I want you to do.
I mean, it'll be one or the
Right.
other next year. I'll either be all in or all out. I mean, there'll be no in between.
Well, David,
So-
I was all in on something I don't know if I've really ever been all in on before.
What's that?
The Daytona 500.
Is that because it was a Monday afternoon special?
First off, Monday Night Racing. Anybody else think it's got a really nice ring to it?
Kind of like Monday Night Football. Only it's Monday Night Racing.
Right, in the summer.
Well, in years past, when not only us, but it's been kicked about nationally, what is it that NASCAR could do? Because they've had declining attendance, they've had declining ratings, and some people have had the idea that what NASCAR needs to do is they need to do some midweek racing at night.
I don't think, I know, and I was thinking about this yesterday, and it's, I don't like trying to bring up a topic like this without being informed enough, because my guess is that NASCAR earns the majority of their money on race weekend from their fans, because they get huge crowds, and it's not cheap. I would think that their revenue on attendance is higher than most other sports. I think it would be similar to what hockey is. Because basketball and baseball and football don't need you to go to the games. That's bonus money. Football makes a boatload before anybody ever buys a ticket.
Right.
Baseball makes a boatload before anybody buys a ticket because their local TV deals are monstrous. Mm-hmm. Basketball also, between the global money and the U.S. TV money, is making a lot of money before they put anybody in the seats. Hockey needs attendance.
Right.
I would imagine, and I don't know the finances. That's why I hate bringing something like this up without being into it far enough. I would imagine that NASCAR needs the financing from ticket sales. But when I was watching the race yesterday, and I believe it or not, I had it on Sunday until they called it. I was ready for the race Sunday. It was a little bit later. Started at about 3. Usually, Sunday at 1's kind of the NASCAR thing forever and ever.
Yeah, they've kind of moved Daytona to around 2:30-ish.
Yeah, and
But this one took a little longer.
I got, in between the rain and all that, it took forever to get started. I will say I didn't like the beginning. It's a long intro.
It was a half hour longer. It's usually an hour. This one took well over an hour and a half. And those who thought it was spectacular in one sense were then also going, Yeah, but it took a little long.
Yeah, I mean, Perez did have to do a flyover and then a lap, which
Right.
I
Right.
don't.
That's not normal.
I've got to be honest, and I don't care right now what anybody thinks about this guy, what side of the alley you're on. Good God, was that great? He does a flyover in Air Force One.
Right.
The kahunas to pull that and then do a lap in the limo. I'm sorry. Great is great. That was hysterical.
Well,
That made me laugh my tail off.
Well, it was very WWE.
Yes,
But
it was.
worked. I mean, most people
Hey.
liked it. People at the track, in my understanding, loved it.
Loved it.
Loved it.
And then the other flyover was amazing. And all right, so we get to the race. It gets rained out. Now, yesterday I knew they started at 4. Monday's a tough day for me. Wife works late. I got a lot of Maddie duty to take care of. And all of a sudden, Jake texts me. He goes, "Hey, Chastain's in 10th," or wherever he was at the time. And we were about 70 laps to go. And I jumped in. But it was terrific ending. I will ask you, because I know you saw the end. And I didn't hear any, and I watched a little post-race. Because I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you know I'm not an NASCAR guy, but they kept reiterating over and over in the overtime, once they get to a white flag, if there is a yellow after the white flag, the race is, over at that point. We're going to go to checker. They never put a yellow out with the little whatever happened in the back.
Right.
But then the big accident happens at the end with Newman. And I thought I saw both of them lead at different times, and then they took it to the checkered flag. Was there any?
No, at that late, they're just going to let them go to the checkered flag.
Okay.
They're not stopping it
All right, because
at that moment.
Because they, when they restart everything, they do it right when it happens. That's why you don't race any further, and they explain that. Okay. Because they both jockey. I mean, there was, 2 or 3 lead changes after the Newman wreck. I mean, they both were first.
Newman's in the lead. Blaney hits him. All right. Newman goes flying. Blaney now is in the lead, but Hamlin coming on the outside. The Newman's car goes over Hamlin, and so Hamlin then kind of side drafts off Blaney, and then he ends up winning. So yeah, in the last however many 300-400 yards of the race, you actually had 3 leaders.
Right. But I just didn't know, because when the way they were explaining to me, and they never talked about it again. I know everybody you loved the excitement of DW. I thought Gordon was great the last lap. He just sat there very calm, going, as Hamlin's out to a big lead. He's like, this is not over. And then Newman gets, he's like, this is still not. I mean, you just kept, for as fast as that sport is, I thought he did a really nice job of calmly explaining what was going on in a very exciting situation.
And then it became horrifying because, it's a very dangerous sport. And that was and I don't say this in a good way, but it's an adjective that does accurately describe the crash. It was a spectacular crash in its scope. And, cars going airborne and then flipping and ending up on their side and getting hit at some point in time while on the ground the first time. And you were very fearful of Ryan Newman's well-being.
Absolutely.
And then and once again, it's Daytona. Today, the 18th of February, is 19 years to the day of Dale Earnhardt's crash and death at Daytona. And when the racers start reacting a certain way, it's like all the sports that we watch when injuries occur. When the players start freaking out, it's bad. You just do. When they start freaking out, asking for medical help. There was an incident last week in the NHL in which Jay Boomeister on the St. Louis Blues there, when he collapsed on the bench. And the players started freaking out. That's when you realize, oh my goodness, this is not a normal thing. Whatever is going on, this is far from normal.
When his crew's in a dead sprint to get to the car, you're a little concerned. You don't see that very often.
And also, they brought out onto the track, they brought out these big, black curtains. I mean, they were making sure that there was no one in the stands that could take a picture on their cell phone of Ryan Newman being extricated from the car, put onto the stretcher, and then put into the ambulance. And when everyone was immediately saying, all right, including the winner, Danny Hamlin, I don't really care about this. I just care about Ryan Newman. You instinctively start fearing the worst. You just do. And thankfully, at around 10 o'clock last night, that Roush Fenway Racing and NASCAR released a joint statement in which they said that he's in serious condition and the doctors consider his injuries to be non-life threatening. They didn't get into any detail as to what the injuries are. And also there was a fire.
Right.
That, so you don't know. I mean, does he have burns? Never mind.
Well, not only was there
physically.
a fire, you can see the fire and you can see the fuel pouring out of the vehicle.
Back of the car, correct.
I mean, that was a very scary scene in the aftermath of like you said, a spectacular crash and a spectacular finish.
And an exciting one, and let's face it, this is what these tracks and then the restrictor plates and all this is what it's set up for, this type of racing. And it happens. I mean, they refer to it as the big one. You know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how many big ones you're going to have. I mean, think about it. This is the 209th lap of a 200-lap race. That's how many wrecks they had and how many extra laps they had to run to finally get it going. And they had 2 crashes on the final lap. And we're basically of the point of, this is it. We're just going to let it run out. But, knock on wood, all right, Ryan Newman, considering at 8 o'clock last night what it looked like and what it felt like, all right, Ryan Newman, serious condition, but non-life-threatening injuries. And, 42 years old, a couple daughters. He and his wife, the day before Valentine's Day, actually announced they were separating after 16 years of marriage. Past 500 champion. He's won nearly 20 times. He's one of those that's done a lot, everything but a cup title. Ryan Newman, very popular driver. And so hopefully he is going to be okay.
We'll talk with Lee Spencer from RacingBoys.com in the 7 o'clock hour, Pat Kerwin in the 8 o'clock hour. But it is the baseball hour, and a lot has happened in that sport since we last left the air, and we will discuss it coming up not only in the starting 5, but, well, in and around our guests today on Miller and Moulton. Back in the saddle after a little 4-day weekend. Thanks so much for listening. Fox Sports Radio, where we stream at foxsportsfm.com, and you are looking live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Receiving. Over.
You're clear.
Play Fox Sports FM on
Seth,
TuneIn.
the reason is that that shirt was our only. Is that from this station? Yeah, the station that we work for told us to buy shirts, give them the shirts, and they would put this logo on them.
Hello.
I laughed.
Right. He didn't do it.
I said no.
I bought a black shirt and a gray shirt. So I have 2.
Blue Emu Deep Penetrating and Odor-Free Formula supplies healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast, and you won't stink.
Dial star 2020. Friends Eye Care.
Had enough of your daily contact lens routine that sometimes leaves your eyes begging for mercy, or maybe you just want to look in the mirror and see your face without glasses for a change. It's time to show some LASIK love to yourself, or maybe give the gift of LASIK to that special someone this Valentine's Day. Dr. Jonathan France and his expert team of surgeons at France Eye Care want you to see your future in 2020. So for a limited time, they're offering a sweet deal of $1,500 off bilateral LASIK. Dr. France, pioneer in LASIK surgery, assisted with the first laser
you're not even on
correction
one
procedure
where I
ever
nearly
performed in the
took a
U.S.
screenshot.
Over 30 years of experience,
Send it
and
to
this
your wife.
is expertise that you can trust. Take advantage of $1,500 off LASIK.
No, I didn't.
Because this sweet special is only being offered for a limited time, financing available. Trust your eyes to Dr. Jonathan France and the team at France Eye Care and start seeing your future in 2020.
Gotcha. Well, then that leaves passive aggressive.
The pain
That's
level was
beyond
over
when
10.
you take a
There's days where I
Facebook of
just
your
sat and
own
cried and
Facebook
asked the
page
good
to
Lord to
send
take
to
me.
your husband.
And my
We've
doctor
passed
recommended
passive
that I go
aggressive,
to
and
Good
we're
Feet
saying.
and try the arch supports. So I put the arch supports in and took
So
about
I
3-4
know.
steps.
I know all the
Turned
stuff
around and
that's
went
going
and
on.
sat back down and started to cry. It was the first time that I had no pain.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Dave actually live the life they envision without their feet
Oh,
getting in
no,
the
I
way.
just.
Since then, I've been doing so many things with my children. I went hiking this last summer with my daughter, something that I never thought was possible because I couldn't walk. There's people out there that made a product that changed people's lives. I am not an actor. I am an individual father and wanted to share his testimony with other people out there about my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Call 552-FEET or visit us in Naples or our newest store in Fort Myers.
Listen to the Dan Patrick Show at work.
Never boring, that's for sure.
Streaming 24/7 at FoxSportsFM.com.
We are Fox Sports. Ever purchased an online item and either it doesn't fit, has missing parts, or became damaged? Trying to save a few bucks can end up costing more. My Shower Door is a locally owned and operated family business that measures, manufactures, and installs our own brand of frameless shower doors right here in Southwest Florida. And we were just named Lee County's Manufacturer of the Year. With almost 80,000 shower doors installed, we have the experience and expertise. Plus, estimates are always free. Want to see more? Go to myShowerDoor.com.
Boaters Landing, where you'll find the latest in Four Winds outboard-powered bow riders from 20 to 35 feet. You'll also find Four Winds boats carry one of the best warranties in the business. The Four Winds factory warranty is not just any 3-year warranty. It covers material, labor, and most boat components for 3 years. Four Winds boats, designed for families and saltwater. Boaters Landing, delivering the dream for over 30 years.
If a car dealer asks you for your tax refund, don't do it. If you've made a deposit, get it back. Gotta go to Galliana. Other dealers want your tax refund. At Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers, we don't need it. Right now, during the President's Day event, new Jeep Renegade Latitude, $189 per month. New Grand Cherokee Laredo, $269 per month. New Jeep Gladiator Sport 4x4, $279 per month. Over 1,100 Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams. All at the absolute best prices in Southwest Florida. Qualifying purchases with 0 down and no monthly payments till August. That's right. 0 down and no monthly payments till August. And exclusive of that offer, Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers will give you $6,000 minimum for any trade in any condition, running or not, at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 1/2 mile south of Daniels Parkway on US 41 in Fort Myers. Open every day, including Sunday. Call 239-481-2600. GallianaCars.com.
42 monthly, 16,000 miles per year, $999 due at sign plus tax, stock, and dealer fees. Zero security deposit with lender approval. Minimum trade toward the purchase of select new vehicles. In stock units only. Offers don't combine.
Here we go. Now back to Miller and Moulton. No. This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
"28 minutes past 6 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. You miss any part of the show? Well, that's where the Connecticut casts come in. You know, if it wasn't for Connecticut, we wouldn't have the whole podcasting thing. Every hour gets its own podcast, so thanks to the good folks at Connecticut, the best damn water that the two of us have ever had. 908-2300, 908-2300. Pat Kerwin to join us in a little less than 2 hours. A reminder, we've got 2 new channels that you can view us and take in this show on, our Miller and Moulton YouTube channel and our Miller and Moulton Twitch TV channel.
Good news, it's pretty easy to find. It's Miller and Moulton.
I heard that.
All spelled out. All one word.
That's good. It's easy to remember. Especially for one half of this show, that being me.
It is now time, however, for the starting 5.
The starting 5. 5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton starting 5. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
Denny Hamlin won his 3rd Daytona 500. Not many drivers have won the 500 3 times. Even fewer have won the 500 back-to-back, which Denny Hamlin did. Denny, who had a commanding lead at one point on the final lap and then was in 3rd place late on the final lap. He ended up winning in part after a spectacular Ryan Newman crash, which put him in the nearby Halifax Medical Center. He is listed in serious but stable condition. His injuries are considered non-life-threatening. However, NASCAR and Roush Fenway Racing has not disclosed what those injuries are. Alva's Ross Chastain crashed on lap 199, ended up finishing 25th, but was in the top 10. Was making a run at it.
Hell, I think he got it to about third or fourth
Well, there
before
was
that
an
crash
opening there
happened.
for third. He was going for third at the moment that the crash happened and ended up finishing 25th. Jimmy Johnson, who had the lead with 30 laps to go in what is his final Daytona 500 as a full-time driver. Would not surprise anybody if he runs a couple more 500s in kind of a one-race deal. I mean, if you're a sponsor and you can put Jimmy Johnson in your car.
Yeah, it's nice because then I knew who one of the drivers was.
Well,
man, are they young.
Yes, they are.
And with so many guys getting knocked out of the race yesterday at different points, towards the end of that race, there was a few names on there that you better be a pretty diehard NASCAR guy to know who the hell was racing late yesterday.
No question about it. Denny Hamlin in his mid to late 30s, the winner. Ryan Newman, 42 in the crash.
Boy, our guy there, Joey, had a fast race car yesterday, but boy, does he drive like a...
Well,
I mean, they
all said yesterday that the speed package to run at the speed that you had to run to be up there with the Hendrick engines, they felt like they ran this race on the edge. That the package the setup you had to have, that it just felt like, you know what, you're kind of racing on the edge.
Well, Jimmy said that in his interview. He said, I love how they never use their names. It's all the numbers. He says, but that 22 kept running into people, kept running hard and bumping people. It was bound to happen sooner or later, and I got caught in it.
It just kept bumping into people. College hoops, only one ranked team in action last night. That sounds kind of weird. Kansas whooped up on Iowa State 91-71. This Kansas team's got a Final Four look to it.
I'll tell you what,
Bill
Iowa
Self
State
has got them hitting their stride.
Iowa State last night in the first half wouldn't go away. One point they were, I think, 9 of 11 from beyond the arc, David. They are stroking it, and it doesn't even faze Kansas.
Nope.
But, they're playing a team that's not missing shots. They're playing really well, and they can't pull away. And, they'd get up 8, Iowa State, boom, boom, 2 threes. And, it just didn't faze the Jayhawks.
North Carolina late had a double-digit lead and then did what the Tar Heels do this year.
15 in the second half they led by.
Yeah, and double digits late.
Yeah.
And lost. Notre Dame with a flurry of threes, including a game winner with less than 2 seconds to go. And the North Carolina Tar Heels are 10-16.
They are, I believe, 3-11 or 3-12 in conference play.
I think it's 3-12.
Yeah, they were 3-11 going into that last night then.
Yeah. 10-16, 3-12.
And Notre Dame made a bid for the tournament last night because that puts them to a game beneath 500 in conference, and they're 17-10 now. That was a huge comeback for the Irish.
77-76, Notre Dame over North Carolina. The FGCU women keep on rolling last night. North of Atlanta, they beat Kennesaw State 89-64, their 15th straight win mark. They've got 26 wins. No women's team in the country has more wins than FGCU. Kiri Jewett-Giles, the pride of Dunbar, along with Davion Wingate, each with 25 points in the win. Tip of the cap to the folks at FSW. The men's basketball teams won 20 in a row. They're ranked number 1 in the country for a third straight week. The women are ranked 12th in the country, and the FSW softball team ranked 3rd in the country. Another day and more controversy in Major League Baseball. The irony mark that yesterday Mike Trout, who Rob Manfred once said, if he would just give more of himself and do a little bit more to help promote the game, it would really help us. Well, Mike Trout, in 17 seconds or less yesterday, he sure did a lot for this Astros sign-stealing controversy. He said, boy, I'd sure like to know what pitches were coming. That would be fun. This is already the best player in the game. Certainly giving everyone an indication, if you're debating, well, just how much of an advantage is it to know what pitches are coming? Mike Trout made it sound like he would have video game stats if he knew what pitches were coming. But he also said, which is a growing theme that I don't think the commissioner can do anything about, Mike Trout, amongst a growing number of players who feel that the Astros players should have been punished. Mark, you and I have been doing this a while. We've been paying attention to sports in a while. We've both been in locker rooms and clubhouses, and we know the mentality. Players never snitch and never give up on other players.
Nope.
Ever. They always come to the defense of their fellow player.
It's why, what's his name? Fryers.
Mike Fiers.
Fiers, rather. It's why he took heat from people. It's why Pedro blasted him. It's why Mendoza blasted him. It's why others blasted him, because there's a code in the room. And
you deal with this in-house.
I mean, my first road trip, I was 22, 23 years old, working for an IHL team. We're getting on the plane coming home. And Gino Briaco, our coach, grabbed me, pulled me to the side, put his arm around me, and just said, he called me Marvin Miller, the baseball guy. That's how he's, and even I was Marvin Miller.
Marvin,
he goes,
Marvin,
Marvin, get over here.
Now that's funny. Did the guys call you Marvin the rest of the year?
No, it was just Ubi.
You know I would have.
I'm glad to know that. You can call me that now. And he pulled me over and he just said, "Hey," and he got serious. And there was a different tone, fun and games. And he looked at me and said, "Hey, what goes on the road stays on the road, okay?" I'd never traveled with a team before.
You had to know.
And he just said it to me and he goes, "Okay," and I went, "Yeah, coach." It's the only thing that was ever said to me, and I knew better. And that's the rule. And that's also, what goes on in the room stays in the room. And that's why there are different camps. But the camps seem to be now in an 80-20 of they are really against this group of players.
Yes. And I think the Astros are bringing it on themselves by every single time they do something public. They are seemingly coming across as not that remorseful, and or the only thing we're really angry about is we're angry we got caught. And other players, I believe, are picking up on that. It's one thing for Dodgers and Yankees to be speaking out, because the Astros went through them in 7-game series to win the World Series 3 years ago. But now we've got players on other teams who seemingly were not affected by this, not impacted by this, who, Mark, it's not that big of a stretch to see. You could have seen Mike Trout go, "Listen, this is unfortunate. Altuve is a good dude. Blah, blah, blah." I don't even know if he knew what pitches were coming. There's a guy who did a study the other day that said, maybe on only 2% of the pitches that he saw that whole year were they doing anything to try to tell him, because there are players who don't want to know the signs. They don't want the base runner on second base to even indicate location, because what if the pitcher's wrong? There are some players who don't want to know. You could have seen Mike Trout be diplomatic, which he's always been, and Mike Trout laid the Astros out yesterday.
Yes, he did.
And he didn't do it maliciously. He just gave us the 6 seconds of truth, and it just came out of him. And here's the part of this story, Mark, that's fascinating me. When this story first broke, there were no players that were condemning the Astros. Even the Dodgers were staying quiet. CC Sabathia was about the only player who couldn't keep his mouth shut. The Yankees were keeping their mouth shut. The Dodgers were keeping their mouth shut. And there were a lot of people who cover this sport who were intimating, well, the reason certain teams are keeping their mouth shut is they've been whispers about what it is they've been doing to get an advantage.
Well, and the Dodgers, you'll have to enlighten me on all the things they think the Dodgers did, but many have pointed out the number of PED players on the New York Yankees.
Well, but it's not just PEDs, but yes. No one's hit more PED homers than the Yankees.
And you go back to last year, the games in London, that it was pretty obvious that the Yankees were doing something, because Alex Cora said it.
Yes.
Said it.
Yeah, I mean, he said basically, well, they've got Carlos Beltran on
and he's
with
cheating
them now. And well, he said, he intimated
don't have to mince words.
Yeah.
They're paying a lot more attention to detail. Go back and listen to the Cora quotes, where it's damn near tongue-in-cheek that he says, well, they're paying a lot more attention to detail. They're cheating. That's what he says.
Yeah, code, they've got our signs. one way or another.
We got to tighten things up.
Right. And what he meant by that is that we have to assume they've got our signs or stealing our signs. We need to disguise them better.
Quick disclaimer, Johnny Bench was on Dan Patrick Thursday. Because we did our show, and then we were done.
Right.
And it was either Thursday or Friday that I heard Bench on Dan Patrick. And they talked about the sign stealing. And he told 2 terrific stories. One was if they had an instance that they thought someone was stealing signs when someone was second, Johnny walked out to the pitcher, and I forgot what the pitcher's name was. And he just said to him, he says, fastball's up and in. Don't pay any attention to my signs. So he puts down number 2. One comes at the ear. Guy doesn't trust what the guys on second saying anymore. That was number 1, which I think is a great way to eliminate it. The second was they were playing the Phillies. And this is the days of the Big Red Machine. And help me with the Phillies manager.
Danny Ozark?
No. A shorter name than that even. I thought it was like a Gino or started with an M last name. Anyhow, Pete's having a game. They can't get Pete Rose out. He's got like 3-4 hits.
Okay.
And the manager just tells the catcher, tell him what we're throwing. First pitch, fastball, right down the middle fastball. Next pitch, curveball, throws a curveball for a strike. Pete backs out of the box, turns to the ump and says, would you tell him to shut up? Tell him what we're throwing. We got to do something to confuse this guy. But it started badly. We finished our show. We knew the Astros were going to have their presser.
We're done at 9. They're having a 9:30 presser.
And Jim Crane gets up there, and by now I think everybody's heard it. There's no need for us to play the audio, but basically says that it didn't have any effect on them winning the World Series.
Right.
To which we're all sitting there going, what?
What?
They read a couple of statements. They get in the locker room, and a few players are a little more...
Well, they're human.
A little more human.
A little bit.
A little more human, because the statements were bad. I mean,
yeah. Well,
and they didn't take any questions.
Not only were the statements bad, the tone in which they were. I mean, Bregman just came off like a jerk.
Yes, he did. And by all accounts, by the person in Houston who did all the work, Bregman was...
Well, we met him when we went and had our Louisiana weekend there. We did Alabama LSU Saturday and the Saints on Sunday. But Joe Smith with his wife Allie LaForce, Joe and Bregman, teammates with the Astros, we met him in the park, and we were just shooting the you-know-what with them. Seemingly, well,
they were at a tailgate. They were in a better mood.
Well, I was going to say,
it's tough to be in a bad mood in Baton Rouge on a Saturday.
On a Saturday night.
Yeah, tailgate. Well, and before the game's even started. You have no reason to be in a bad mood at that point in your life.
They hadn't been shut out yet.
Right.
So
he gets up and gives that statement. A few players are a little better. And then later in the day, well, the microphones ventured to other clubhouses.
Yeah.
And Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, he's had enough. He's had enough. The
he
Dodgers are done.
He gave us the sound that we yearn for in this business. He said, guys, start rolling, and I'm not done until I say I'm done.
Right.
In fact, this is going to be so long, you're going to have to clip all of this into about a minute and a half. The highlights, this will be good, but the highlights will be outstanding.
Right. Jane, you ignorant slut.
And once that came out, the Astros got pissed.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
And that's the biggest mistake they made.
No doubt.
If they would have just taken the Bellinger comments, and when asked about it, because the next day, what did you hear? Look, we understand a lot of players are going to be upset.
Just trying to move
we
past
get it.
This.
We said what we said. There's not much of anything else we can say,
right.
So we're just going to go forward. But instead...
No. Carlos Correa got indignant because Corey Bellinger's angry.
Yep.
Right.
And started blaming Bellinger and others for what they didn't know when it was his team that cheated.
And then Correa said that, stop saying this about Altuve. He's a good dude. The reason he didn't want his jersey taken off was he had a bad tattoo, and it was only half done.
Uh-huh.
So then the next day, the media goes up to Altuve and goes, can you take your shirt off? Or at least unbutton the top 2 buttons. Can we see this tattoo? Even though now the tattoo is...
Well, it's complete.
It's complete, and it may not look bad anymore. So he shows...
In fact, yesterday he walked around the locker room shirtless all day. Just to let everybody know that I've got a tattoo. But originally, the story was not the tattoo. It was that his wife told him she didn't want his jersey off. So they can't even get their story straight on the lie they made about Altuve.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, and then Rob Manfred's giving a press conference every day. in which every day it's not working.
And
He's
we
gonna
still
give another
haven't
one
got
today.
and that still leads us up to, by the end of the week, we're supposed to have a decision on the Boston Red Sox.
Well, now that's been put off potentially for another week because Manfred did say something interesting yesterday on that front. He said, well, we've actually uncovered some things lately. We thought we were going to be done and have it released by Valentine's Day, but we've uncovered a couple things, so we've had to do some more interviews. And so I think we'll be done by the end of next week, is what he said.
And I'm telling you right now, if you're the Kansas City Royals, if you're the Tampa Bay Rays, look out, because they could come down hard on you for this.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, they are so honked off at the Red Sox that I think the Brewers should be worried. I do. NHL, Tampa Bay. The Lightning have won 11 in a row. They beat Colorado in overtime 4-3. That game got nasty. Boy, I would love to see a Tampa Bay-Colorado Stanley Cup final.
Oh,
that would be tremendous. The Panthers, a much-needed win, 5-3 over San Jose. And Vegas beat the Caps 3-2. Some quick NFL news and notes. The Browns cut 4 players yesterday, freed up $13 million in cap space. Arizona Cardinals re-signed their left tackle, DJ Humphries, 3 years, $45 million, 30 of it guaranteed. Joe Burrow says he, quote, has leverage, unquote, as the potential first overall pick of the draft. Yeah. Everybody around Joe Burrow has said he has no problem playing for the Bengals. Joe Burrow's been given about 37 chances to say he has no problem playing for the Bengals.
Not said it once.
No, he hasn't. No, he has not.
Would you have a problem playing for the Bengals?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I would. But then again, he's from 3 hours away in Ohio. In theory, this is supposed to be a slam dunk. I know Mom and Dad are potentially very happy about him being a Cincinnati Bengal. Son does not appear as happy. And the Lions have made no secret of the fact they put starting corner Darius Slay on the trade market. That's a number one corner. That's a number one corner. If I'm a few teams out there, I don't have a problem giving up a second-round pick and bringing in Slay and giving him a 2-year extension, so it's a 3-year deal. He's 29 years old. He's still playing very good football. That's an interesting... If you're trying to win...
Why? I made no sense to me.
You're trying to win.
Right.
Your owner has said, win this year
or you're fired.
Losing your job.
Right.
Why are you trading him? I don't know. But then again, they're the Lions. And that, Mark, is...
The starting 5. 5 big stories that you need to know. This is Miller and Moulton Starting 5. Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
12 minutes before 7 o'clock. Thanks so much for listening on this Tuesday morning. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
If you got a chance to watch the Chiefs victory parade, you probably noticed one player who was a little bit louder than everybody else, and that was tight end Travis Kelce. He's become the unofficial party starter for the world champs, and he's reminiscent of Rob Gronkowski. You might call it the Gronk effect, and Kelce and Gronk are actually the same exact age. It feels like the tight ends are trying to take over for wide receivers.
Dan Patrick.
And here they are.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
Live Greyhound Racing is back for the final season of racing at the Naples-Fort Myers Greyhound Track. Doors open daily at 9:45 a.m. with poker action and simulcast wagering until 2 a.m. on weekdays and 3 a.m. on weekends. Enjoy lunch or dinner in their high-stakes restaurant, or check out the daily specials at the Hold'em Grill by the Poker Room. And don't forget to take advantage of the $1 beer, $1 hot dogs, and $1 sodas on the first and third Friday of every month. If poker's your game, you can win thousands of dollars during their high hand promotion giveaways. Their 34-table poker room also features games like 3-card poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, High Card Flush, and poker tournaments. Visit their website at NaplesFortMyersDogs.com for the live racing schedule and poker and simulcast information. The dogs are here for one more year, so come on out and have a beer at the Naples-Fort Myers Greyhound Track in Bonita Springs.
The Dear Happy Show.
Brought to you by Hardee's.
We've got Melissa on the line.
Hey, Happy. My kids have baseball practice
what
on
I mean.
Saturday mornings, but it's my only day to sleep in.
Well, break it to them early that they're not going to make the majors.
But I don't want to crush their dreams.
That's fair. Then why don't you swing by Hardee's on the way and get the new
Yeah,
BFC Frisco
Fir-
breakfast
first off,
sandwich
it's-
with a
first off,
crispy
it's
wheel
80
of cheese inside, so everyone's morning can be super.
You don't need a jacket to do that.
Call in next time at 1-833-HI-HAPPY.
Available for a limited time only at participating Hardee's restaurants.
Feed your Happy. The Dear Happy Show.
Brought to you by Hardee's.
Eric, you're on with Happy.
Hey, Happy. I'm applying for a mortgage, and I'm debating a 15-year or a 30-year rate.
Forget about the property ladder. Get on the burger ladder.
What?
The new BFC Angus Thick Burger from Hardee's has a crispy wheel of cheese on top.
You're right. As long as I have a good burger, I'll always have a place to call home.
Exactly. Call in next time at 1-833-HI-HAPPY.
Available for a limited time only at participating Hardee's restaurants.
Feed your happy.
This is a message for all men. Look, my family doctor said my ED was incurable. There was nothing anyone could do but perform surgery. My wife was supportive. She told me it wasn't important and there were other things we could do, but deep down, I knew she was disappointed. I felt less of a man, less of a husband. I was embarrassed. I heard the ads for the Fort Myers Men's Clinic, and I thought to myself, how can the doctors at that clinic claim to resolve my erectile dysfunction in 15 minutes or less? So I called, made an appointment, my wife went with me, and let me say, my doctor was wrong. We have regained our intimacy. They can help. No matter your age or your condition, $99 for a doctor consultation and a test dose of the medication can help. Call now, 239-317-7777, 317-7777, 317-7777, or FortMyersMen'sClinic.com. And be sure to ask about the incredible Pulse ED.
Who do you blame?
Stamina, sensitivity,
How big
and
of
even
a
size.
problem?
No matter where you're
you have
voting, with
as
Towboat
players
US,
on
you're covered by the world's largest towing fleet with over 300 ports nationwide. Your local Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7, 365 days a year. Inland, the river to Lake O, and
Yeah,
out
just something
75
about,
nautical miles. And new member
something about
specials are
punishing
running
the player.
all year.
I'm
Call
trying to figure-
239-945-1664 for more information. Or visit
I'm just
TowboatUSCapeCoral.com.
spitballing. I'm just trying to,
With Towboat US,
you know.
you're never stuck on the water.
Did you know that King Roofing
Would
has
you watch more
expert dedicated
NASCAR if they
repair
had
crews
a
to
Thursday
troubleshoot
night
roof
race?
problems? They can fix everything from tree damage to broken tiles and, of course, roof leaks. Do you have a leak or water stains or tile damage? Call King Roofing, a roofing company with the right team to repair it. King Roofing, experienced in roof repair for over 40 years.
License number CCC 057279.
Every castle deserves a king.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
No. This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
Seven minutes before 7 o'clock, Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. You can chime in via the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. That's 249-8167, 249-8167. We don't have a poll question.
We do now.
We do?
Yeah. Would you watch more NASCAR if the races were in prime time?
Huh. You seem to like the fact that it ended
on
up
Monday.
under the lights. You like?
I don't want it on the weekend. I would love Thursday night racing. Not all the time. And I know they couldn't do it every week. But I've got to be honest with you. And that's why I think NASCAR guy may crush me on this question. And I'm sure once my son sees it, he's going to send Andrew text, and I'll just tell him I can cut off his money. But because he goes to a couple, 3 races a year. It's
Right.
you know, for race fans, they hate the idea of this. Because they go to the races, and they travel great distances to go to the races.
Yeah, but they usually only go to 1, maybe 2. There's 36 races on the circuit, so, you know, there's... Plus, it's a question about the sport at large, if you know what I mean. I mean, you can't just answer these poll questions selfishly, can you? I mean, you're asking, you know, I mean, would you watch more racing if it took place in prime time?
Right, and I'm not even saying prime time during the week. I'm just saying prime time.
Yeah, so there's a possibility of just making it Saturday night racing. But I do think if you're NASCAR, everybody's trying to learn from and glom off of the NFL. The NFL's got this thing called Monday night and Thursday night football. I mean, if you're NASCAR, is it the dumbest idea in the world to maybe late spring into the summer do some Monday and or Thursday night racing? Because the fans also, ideally, have a little bit more time that they would be willing to take off during those months. So if you're asking them to give an extra day or so of their work week, they may be like, yeah, it'd be great. I'd much rather go to your race than go to work. It'd be fantastic. We can go straight from the NASCAR race to vacation. We can start our family vacation.
Right. Get a race and then go camping for the weekend.
Exactly.
Take this camper right to the campground. or stay right at the campground.
Look at you all of a sudden with an accent, this fake NASCAR accent, like you're in the infield of Kansas or something. Come on.
Or Missouri.
Or Missouri.
Just depends on which state you want to choose.
And you're a half a step away from a pinch between your cheek and gums.
Full tobacco flavor.
So there you have it. Would you watch more racing if it took place in prime time? That is our poll question. A question that I'm just throwing out there, Mark. Can Rob Manfred and baseball give themselves a mulligan? Because it's clear that he's gotten this wrong. I mean, everybody is telling him, you got this wrong.
He can. He actually can. And I could, because we're coming up towards the end of this, pull a great Greenie
do your entertainment tonight tease.
But there's two facets of this, and there's a reason why he can. Because who did Rob Manfred have to make an agreement with to get this immunity?
The players.
And the players' union.
Right.
The strongest union that there is in sports.
Correct.
But it certainly appears on the surface, David, that the rank and file of the union are not very happy with the cheaters. And the reason I think he could walk this back now is that I believe that the union might walk it back because I think more of their membership is pissed off that these guys are walking scot-free than the number of the membership is that happy that they gave them immunity. And it's not Rob Manfred that can actually walk it back. It's the Major League Players Association.
Because that's what I've been wondering here these last 48 hours. Can Rob Manfred remember when Ray Rice first hit his then fiancée? The NFL and the Ravens penalty was very light. Then video of the incident went public, and then he's been blackballed and never played again. I'm wondering if you're Major League Baseball, can you create something that says, things are different now?
3 words, David. Find the buzzer. Find the buzzer.
You're clear.
When you buy a Wellcraft boat from Boaters Landing, you get an offshore fishing boat designed especially to enjoy a long day on the water with family and friends. And you also get one of the best warranties in the business. Wellcraft's factory warranty is not just any 3-year warranty. It covers material, labor, and most boat components for 3 years. See Boaters Landing for details.
God, I wish we could Carl Ravitch right now. He's going nuts on Twitter.
Delivering the dream for over 30 years.
Sometimes we just gotta take a moment.
That's what we gotta do.
Take that deep breath.
While I believe the Astros title should be stripped, the municipal players are the result of a negotiated agreement from the MLB Players Association.
Yes.
Does the MLBPA bear responsibility for
This one's got a chance. Go!
and thus similar criticism for the players? And he's actually answering people. Difficult to blame players union for advocating the best result for players, but the players
Laughing and just living and loving.
attorney for granting immunity. Fair point. Never advocate the players
If a
not
car
being able
dealer
to voice
asks
their
you for your
opinion,
tax
but immunity
refund, don't
eliminates
do
the
it. If you've
possibility
made a
of player
deposit,
punishment.
get
And the
it
player
back.
refrain is they should have been punished, which I think is a fair point.
Other dealers
Then
want your tax refund.
This guy
At
says
Galliana
there would be a
Chrysler
huge
Dodge
fight
Jeep Ram
with
in
the
Fort
union over
Myers.
players'
We don't
suspension,
need
so I
it.
get why they
Right
didn't
now,
pursue
during
that.
the President's Day
Stripping
event,
the title
new
meant
Jeep
statement,
Renegade
though, it
Latitude,
would have gone a long way
$189 per
towards
month.
making
New
everyone
Grand
feel
Cherokee
justice
Laredo,
served.
$269 per month. New Jeep Gladiator Sport 4x4,
Is that-
$279 per month. Over
I guess
1,100
is that
Chryslers,
the
Dodges,
walk
Jeeps,
back?
and Rams. All at the absolute best prices in Southwest Florida. Qualifying purchases with 0 down and no monthly payments till August. That's right, 0 down and no monthly payments till August. And exclusive of that offer, Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers will give you $6,000 minimum for any trade, in any condition, running or not, at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 1/2 mile south of Daniels Parkway on US 41 in Fort Myers. Open every day, including Sunday. Call 239-481-2600. GallianaCars.com.
42-month lease is 10,000 miles per year, $999 due at sign plus tax, dock, and dealer fees. 0 security deposit with lender approval. Minimum trade toward the purchase of select new vehicles. In-stock units only. Offers don't combine.
The sports station with balls. And strikes. We also have strikes. WFSX AM from Naples to Cape Coral and all of Southwest Florida. We are
What's trending now on Fox Sports Radio is
basketball.
sponsored by Estate Roofing in Naples. Online at
800 points, 1,000
estateroofing.com.
She's going to end up second all time in ASUN history in rebounds.
lot of people today, not a lot, but I did see a few tweets out really complimenting the NASCAR media for not putting shit out.
Just sitting and waiting.
For just, you know what, for doing their job.
Yep, just waiting.
You know, doing their job properly.
Right.
Just basically, hey, the rest of the media could take a lesson from the NASCAR guy today.
There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
How the heck are you?
Yep, that's it. Miller,
Shelter from the storm, huh?
and Moulton.
Yeah, sounds like a song.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
Oh, I like it. It's up to you now. It's up to you. I like it.
Now, the best local sports show this town has ever heard. Here's Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
As we approach 2 minutes past 7 o'clock, top of the morning to you, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com and broadcasting live many a place, including the Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. Lee Spencer has been covering racing for a long time. Will join us at the bottom of the hour, and it is a Tuesday. That means Pat Kerwin coming up next hour as well. Mark, there's something we don't do in this country that they do in their major sports worldwide. And I think maybe we need to do it in this country. And I'm wondering if this
Are you going
the mulligan.
Are you going Euro soccer on me?
Here you go.
Are you going with some sort of ban, postseason ban,
There
some
you
sort
go.
of, because we're not going to relegate, which, you know, I know you've
Would be
seen
the ultimate.
I know you've seen the tweets already of people suggesting to us that the XFL champ should play the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
And the winner gets to go to the NFL, and the
loser's relegated.
Right. It's terrific. It would never happen. It's wonderful. We love it. I mean, love.
We love the idea of
You don't
relegation.
understand in all sports.
Yeah.
We love it in hockey.
I'm all
We love
for
it in baseball. We love it in basketball. We love it in Division I college football, which is actually the place that we see the greatest future for relegation, because really there's only 2 conferences that have money and 4 other schools.
Along those lines, by the way, quick sidebar. The ACC has joined the Big Ten in recommending that all college athletes get a mulligan.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
And good.
Yes.
I like it.
It is definitely going to happen now. But the Big Ten is in favor of all college athletes being given a mulligan, where if you want to transfer, you can one time, and you can transfer immediately. And the ACC came out over the weekend and said, yeah, we're in favor of it too. But you may have missed this over the weekend. Manchester City has been banned for 2 seasons from the UEFA Champions League and fined $30 million.
By the way, $30 million, not
Right.
the $5 million the Astros were fined.
Which is the max, though, allowed by baseball rules, but they might have to revisit that also. That's not much of a financial disincentive.
Not when your franchises are worth over $1 billion
and
now.
also, how much money are you making for the success that you're having during that postseason run?
$600 million so far as we counted.
Yeah, minimum. So, fine $30 million for breaking what's called the financial fair play rules. UEFA announced this on Friday.
Alabama, pay attention.
Yeah, the ban starts next season, with the club having been found to have misled the European governing body over its sponsorship deals. And very quickly, you think they spend a lot of money on their sports in this country. Formula One and European soccer, there was no cap here recently, and these clubs were spending out of control, and so they put a rule into place a few years ago in which basically you had to show us your books and your sponsorship, and you could only spend a percentage of whatever it is you're bringing in to try to have all the teams kind of be in line. Well, Man City, according to UEFA, they lied to them. So, Mark, they've been given a postseason ban. I mean, they can't play. They can't play 2 seasons, not just the 2020 season. I mean, imagine how we would feel if Rob Manfred handed down the penalties that he handed down, but then threw in one extra caveat. Oh, yeah, the Astros are banned from the postseason in 2020. I think Rob Manfred would be getting kudos. I think he'd become this week's best commissioner in sports. But it's something we don't do in this country. We do it in college. For academics and for breaking of rules, you are banned from whatever. That happens in college. Not often, but it does. And we're seemingly
It used to happen a lot more, but because of television, let's be honest, the reason we don't have these bans anymore is because of the astronomical television deals. And the conferences said, can we really... there was 2 bans in college. You used to get a TV ban, which just in today's world seems hysterical.
Right. But it was a big deal back
It was a
in the
huge deal when your school... I mean, I remember when Sparty got put on a 3-year probation back in the late 70s, early 80s. The one game against Michigan every year wasn't on television, David. And sometimes the Notre Dame game wouldn't be on television. That was all we got, man.
When Auburn went on probation for a couple years.
The Radio National Championship, they called it, when they went undefeated.
And they played an Iron Bowl one year. It was basically closed-circuit TV. You had to go to a special place to watch it in Alabama, and that was it. I believe it was in Birmingham. So, would it have worked? Would we be okay? Is the American sports fan now ready for what they do elsewhere? A postseason ban. Think about it. Football, basketball, hockey, baseball. Can you recall a team being given a postseason ban? I mean, think about it. Patriots never got any penalty like that. The Saints with Bountygate. I mean, the coach got suspended for a year, the GM for half a year. They got a fine. A couple of players got severe penalties. If the Saints had won enough games that year, would the Saints have gone to the playoffs?
Yes.
Yes, they would have. I mean, I cannot recall, Mark, our big 4 pro sports leagues issuing a postseason ban.
Never. In my lifetime, I don't ever recall that happening.
So for as much talk as Manfred has said, the reason I did not take the World Series away from the Astros was it would have been precedent-setting, etc. Well, so would this have been.
And look, I have to, and I know this was a tough one for you because originally you wanted the World Series, and I think you still want the World Series taken away,
thought it should be
which
vacated.
To me is a bit laughable because we all know they won it.
Yeah, but they cheated to do it.
Okay, but I just don't like the going back and taking titles away. I don't like vacating.
No, I'm not in favor of giving it to somebody else, by the way. I'm in favor of the 2017 World Series being empty, kind of like the record books say for 1994. World Series canceled due to a strike. 2017, title vacated
I got
for
you.
cheating.
It's not something I believe in. That's
right.
I actually think leaving them with the title tarnishes them more.
Well,
because
every
it never
day
is
that goes by. Yes, their scarlet letter keeps getting bigger and
much bigger.
And they're bringing more and more shame onto themselves.
I tried to get the name. We got a text here, and he and I were going back and forth because he didn't know the name, and I tried to find it and couldn't. So I'm just going to read this, and I think this is a great idea. A player suggested a very unusual punishment for the Astros, so I thought I'd share. Every single team refuses to take the field in Houston. Visitors forfeit every game there. The Astros go 81-0 at home, but no revenue because there's no games played. Quite an idea. Now, I know it'll never happen, but if you want to stick it to a team, that is the best idea I've heard to financially impact the Houston Astros.
Well, it's why I also believe that this postseason ban idea would have really worked. Because if you're an Astros fan, are you going to go to as many games? The games don't mean anything. They're truly just for entertainment purposes only. So what if they win? Can't go to the playoffs. So would you go to as many? Would you watch as many? I think it would have cost the Houston Astros tens of millions of dollars.
It would have been a really interesting take on it, because then do the Astros play hard, and like some of those in college, hey, I know we're not going, but we got to try to go undefeated and prove to everybody we were the best team. Would the Astros then say, hey, let's just kick the crap out of everybody? Or would they, half-ass it all year and not play as hard?
Well,
who knows how that would go?
Would they trade half the team and basically be like, well, we might as well start building for 21 and 22 because we can't do anything in 20. So instead of keeping Verlander and Greinke, do you trade them? I mean, do you use this as an excuse to rebuild? Right. A lot of possibilities here. But what if Manfred had done that? And the even bigger picture, are we okay as the American sports fan? Are we going to be okay? Because somebody, I think, is going to do it.
Do you want it? I'm asking seriously. I'm pulling a half Dan Patrick, half Dan Le Batard right here. Do we put a new poll question up? Because I think any poll question is better than an NASCAR poll question.
Okay. Well, are you going to take the NASCAR one down?
Yeah, I'm going to rip it right down. I'm going to delete it.
It'd
be like it never existed.
Has your son already chastised you for it?
No, I doubt he's even awake yet.
Okay, well, I would hope not.
No.
Well, he
work
does
class.
Work.
Yeah,
class. Come on now. What's he, a sophomore in college?
Junior.
He's a junior already?
Yes.
Oh, damn. All right. Is he really a junior, or is he a redshirt sophomore?
It's a great question.
Has he showed you enough transcripts?
It's a great question.
Is he on the 5-year plan? If he is, he's a redshirt sophomore.
Well, he wants an extra football season, and I have told him
4.5.
I have no problem with 4.5. I did 5. I was a redshirt.
Yeah, I did 5.
Right. And what sport did you play? I didn't. But I would
4.5. Sure.
If he does 4.5, I've got.
Heck?
I told him.
You feel like you're half a year ahead of the game.
Feel like I won something, David. Feel like I won something.
249-8167. 249-8167. Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. But, inspired by the UEFA banning Man City for 2 years from playing in the Champions League, I'm like, you know what? I think the American sports fan is ready for something like this. I mean, Mark, you know my feeling. I mean, I've now decided that instead of having a best of 3, we should do it like soccer. We should do best of 2 with an aggregate score.
Yeah, we know.
Oh, well, but I'm just saying that, we don't. Our ideas are not always the best.
You know what? In this case, they are, David. We play games to win. We don't play games to get to the next game and see if we score more in the next game. I despise aggregate scoring.
Okay.
I mean, despise it as a concept. It is a socialist concept at best.
I don't think it is at all, actually. I think it's very capitalistic. Very capitalistic, in fact. It'd be a healthy debate in and of itself right there. It'd be like a combative TED Talk. I mean,
a combative TED Talk.
A combative TED Talk. It's a new thing we're marketing. There's TED Talks, and then there's
the Miller and Moulton version, which is combative TED Talks.
Right.
Tonight on Spike TV.
Yep.
Even though that network doesn't exist anymore.
What was it renamed?
Isn't that Paramount?
Is it?
Yeah.
Good for them. 249-8167. 249-8167. Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line.
Someone did text in that I lettered in curly. No. It was just a club sport. Don't kid yourself.
Right.
Couldn't letter in a club sport.
Did you play that as a varsity sport? No, that was a club sport.
That was a club sport.
I went to school.
Right.
But
God, if it were a varsity sport, it would have changed my whole childhood.
But this is a very serious question that I have. Because the baseball fans are really bothered by this. And I think even sports fans are bothered by this because the idea of cheating really bothers people. And also, I mean, we live in an older part of the country. Golf's a big deal. Golf is a sport of honor and all that. And I sense that people are really bothered by this story, whether they're a baseball fan or not.
All right. You've suggested this. He has suggested this. Other shows have suggested this. I don't like bringing this name up, but I'm just going to throw this out there. What do you think would win for Manfred more? A postseason ban for the Astros for the 2020 season, or putting Pete Rose on the Hall of Fame ballot?
Oh, Pete Rose. Absolutely.
Is that the better PR win to make this go away? Yeah. I like the Astros postseason ban more. If I were to, I would pick both. For the record, everybody who's listened to me knows that when it comes to Pete. But I'm merely just looking at you I'm sitting in the room going, Rob, you got to do something. Here are the ideas on the table to save your commissionership, because right now you're going down in flames. This is the beginning of the end for Manfred, because this is going horribly.
Well,
I don't mean he's out. I mean that Rob Manfred, other than Seth Everett, Rob Manfred as commissioner has not taken a lot of grief in his commissionership.
Right.
There are things that he's done that people like.
Right. Seth believes he's a criminal.
But baseball doesn't.
No.
Baseball seems to think he's doing well. Up until this moment, Rob Manfred was having a good commissionership.
Well, he works for 30 people. I mean, this is a focus group of 30. I mean, the fans truly don't matter here.
I know they don't matter, but the fans don't matter in football. But the way we got so mad at Goodell for a while, Jarrah was trying to get him out. He ended up not winning. But right now, no one likes Goodell, and some of the owners don't like Goodell. Gary Bettman, none of the fans like him. I think all the owners do.
I was going to say, he's had the job for 27 years.
I mean, I think the owners love him.
The fans, outside of a few Canadian fans, because he helped some Canada franchises, but for the most part, for 27 years, Gary Bettman's been disliked, and yet he gets more power every year, and they give him
Well, and he's actually
raises.
done it. You can look past it. He's done a pretty good job the last 15 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
business-wise.
since the NBC deal that didn't look good ended up working, and Silver is well-liked by the public and by his owners.
Yes. And the NBA All-Star Game got rave reviews.
Start to finish, the whole
Sunday.
weekend.
Yes, the weekend.
But the
was
whole
great,
weekend did there.
except
And
for the judging of the slam dunk contest.
That's about the only thing.
But the fourth quarter, the intensity that the fourth quarter of the All-Star Game was played at, Teddy Bruschi sent out a tweet that said, "Dear NBA, now can you fix the Pro Bowl?" Thought that was a great tweet from the former Patriot. But can Rob Manfred in baseball find a mulligan here? Either a way to say, upon further review, we have discovered new evidence, whatever, that allows them to say, I know I said 6 weeks ago that this was like our final judgment, but actually now this is our final judgment. And he does something to placate the masses. Or does he change the subject, Mark? All right. Does he invade Albania? Does he wag the dog? Okay. And the dog is Pete Rose.
And I mean, Seth is vehemently texting us, right? Texting me saying it's not up to him. And I get that it's not up to him, Seth. But he can say it. The reason he didn't get on the ballot was because the baseball commissioners told Baseball Hall of Fame not to put him on, and the Baseball Hall of Fame voted unanimously not to do it.
Right.
So the Hall of Fame will do whatever baseball tells it to do.
And we all know that. But the fact of the matter is that Pete Rose 6 years ago applied for reinstatement. And he applied to Rob Manfred shortly after he had taken the job over. Manfred heard his case and decided not to reinstate Pete. Well, quite a few things about gambling in this country have changed in those 6 years. And I think Pete Rose and his attorney made a compelling case a week or so ago when he said, all right, let me get this straight. No players punished for this. This is a cheating scandal in baseball. No players punished. And a manager and a GM each get a year. That's it, a year. Not indefinite, a year. And I'm working on year 31. When's enough? I thought it was a compelling case. And I do think that Rob Manfred, because of the Astros cheating scandal, that gives him a mulligan if he chooses to use it with Pete Rose. And it would be Wag the Dog. It would be Invading Albania. If you haven't seen the movie, go check it out. Gets a little hokey at the end. The first hour is tremendous. Laugh out loud. And also how much of what has gone on in the last 10 or so years in which you think to yourself, boy, we've been wagging a lot of dogs here, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We've
been doing this for a while.
And maybe even a little bit before that.
Yeah.
You can go back, go read some history books, and let's see how many times we actually did this.
Yes.
But this is a sports show. We'll keep it that way.
But
we
wag the dog.
We will turn left coming out of the break.
What, politically? Or what?
No. Talking NASCAR.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I just wanted to know there. I was scared.
No.
Was going to have to call my wife and say, honey, your favorite part of the show's coming up.
NASCAR?
We're making left-hand turns all day.
That's it.
That's all you need to know, honey. Right up your alley. Miller and Moulton.
Wagging the dog.
We're invading Albania on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com, and you can be looking live on our YouTube and Twitch TV channels.
This
You're
is
clear.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
But if you're defending Phillip Rivers here, you don't get it. It's over, and they treated him like gold. And Phillip Rivers acknowledged they treated me like family. Folks, baseball's about romanticizing. Basketball, they're style points. Football's about winning. Bruh, that's it. It's over. Stop romanticizing it. That's for baseball nerds.
Colin Cowherd. Weekdays at noon on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio and foxsportsfm.com.
Have you or someone you know been taken advantage of or preyed upon by storm chasers who are out of the area contractors?
Men and women when I'm
You're not alone. Hi, this is PJ, owner of Estate Roofing. With over 20 years of experience, I'm committed to quality products with outstanding service. I personally visit all the job sites, making sure every customer gets high-quality work done on time. Shingle, tile, or metal, we do it all. We're an Owens Corning preferred contractor with an impeccable track record. We understand the value of educating customers so you know what you're buying every step of the way. Having issues with getting your insurance claims paid? We'll help you manage your insurance companies to get you paid or help you with financing if needed. Call me today to get a free 20-watt solar attic fan with your new roof. Call me at 692-9732. That's 692-9732. Or visit us online at estateroofing.com. That's ESTATE roofing.com. Estate Roofing. Roofing redefined.
Oh, love your new TV and the sound. It's amazing. But where are the speakers? It's like they're invisible.
They are invisible. It's the coolest new technology, and they're the best speakers on the market.
It's crazy. I've heard of wireless speakers, but invisible speakers? That's epic.
Epic Audio and Video invites you to experience invisible speakers for yourself. You won't believe your ears or your eyes. Visit Epic Audio Video Showroom on the corner of US 41 and Pine Ridge in Naples, or online at epicaudiovideo.com.
This is Mark Miller for Tim Tracing Motors, and I'm with Wes Dobbins, a very satisfied Tim Tracing Motors customer.
Thanks, Mark. Over the past 20 years, my family and I have purchased at least 17 vehicles from Tim Tracing Motors. Everything from Beamers to town cars to Cadillacs to cars for our kids to the Toyota Avalon and Highlander that we currently own. We've always been impressed by the thoughtful, straightforward way that Tim and Matt do business. We especially appreciate that they're so picky about the quality of cars that they bring to the market. They have always stood behind their cars, and that's why we'll continue to be loyal Tim Tracing Motors customers.
Well, there you have it. Visit online at timmotors.com.
That was a whelp.
That's timmotors.com, or call to set up an appointment at 275-7900. 275-7900. At Tim Tracing Motors, they are confident when you meet them, you'll agree that you've never been to a dealership like theirs before. Visit online at timmotors.com. That's timmotors.com, or call to set up an appointment at 275-7900. 275-7900.
I'm a busy person.
Catch the show anytime. Check out MillerandMoulton.com and subscribe to the daily podcasts.
For professional roofing, the name you need to know is D.R. Martineau. You can count on us for great service. You can count on us to get it done. You can count
Nick, why is the MLB commissioner? I don't know. I think football is the toughest commissioner. Actually, are really any of them? It's an 8-figure paycheck, and you work for 30 to 32 people.
Bike ride are all the sights you see along
Who
the way.
cares if
So
the
when
public
David and
hates
I
you?
both developed cataracts. It didn't take long for us to do something about it. Turns out some of the best cataract surgeons in the world are right here in our area at Community Eye Center.
We really care about improving people's lives by improving their vision.
Dr. Spalding and Dr. Spatafor really do care about helping people, and we're so glad they helped us.
They're excited. We share in that excitement. It makes us feel great about what we do.
I can't think of anything scarier than losing my vision. You have an emergency room at the hospital, so we decided we should have an emergency
Yeah, I really
center
thought
since we
Logano
are
was
the
gonna win
preeminent
that coming
practice
down.
in the area. If it warrants a phone call, enough for you to take the time to call us, we want to see you. You need access to immediate
That'll
care,
have
and
room.
sometimes you just need somebody to say, hey, we're going to get you through this, you're going to be okay. Someone
Maddie,
is
of
always
course,
here to help
she's
take
all
care
in.
of people. You just come right in. We're here to take
Picture
care
of the
you
night.
because we take that
Sent
very
this to
seriously.
Jake.
At Community Eye Center, we are the most caring doctors in sight.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
No.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
25 minutes past 7 o'clock. Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. FoxSportsFM.com is where we're streaming this and every show on this station. In fact, if you miss any part of the show, that's what the Connecticut casts are for. Connecticut producing the best damn water that the two of us have ever had in our lives. That's why combined we've been customers for over 30 years. Connecticut, 908-2300.
Yeah, my coffee isn't better than yours because it's a French press. My coffee is better than yours because it's Connecticut water in a French press.
Well played.
That's why.
So did you ditch our NASCAR poll question like that? Did it make it basically not even to turn 2? I mean, we didn't even complete the opening lap if you've ditched that poll question.
I have not ditched it yet, only because there has been a lot of response to it.
See?
And it's a 50-50 poll question. Basically, it's 51-48 right now. Early going, would you watch more NASCAR if the races were in prime time? I can always throw the postseason ban question up tomorrow. I mean, the fact that I have a poll question done for tomorrow's show before today's show started intrigues me as well. And I'm a little lazy, so I've left it up. But we did get this, 2 different comments on our Twitch stream today. Miller and Moulton, for those of you. Can we talk something important rather than baseball?
Right.
The Vipers are 0-2, and I'm ready to jettison that whole garbage coaching staff. No, as a matter of fact, we cannot. No, we will not. We cannot, and we will not ever talk XFL unless I take the day off and David wants to do 3 hours on it. Because I would rather talk about women's college basketball than the XFL.
Hey, don't you disparage my women's college basketball just because you have a problem with the XFL.
No, I just said I would rather talk women's college basketball than the XFL.
You made it sound as if women's college basketball is not worthy of conversation. That's
on a sports talk show. As a matter of fact, I believe that. FGCU from time to time, because they're local, they're great, and Carl's a rocker. I'll always put Carl on. Might not talk about his team, might talk about Judas Priest the whole time, but at least it gives his team some
that's
pub.
What I'm here for. When you two are done talking about what it is you want to talk about, which he's far more interested in talking about.
There's no
than
doubt.
What I ask him.
There is no
when
doubt.
You listen to his tone of voice to the questions I ask. Well, then you ask him a question.
Jumps up in his chair and starts breaking down albums.
He goes, "Oh, that reminds me of the whatever tour. And when they played such and such and so and so, and that was great.
Couldn't believe they played that song in concert. They haven't played that in 6 years."
Man.
He is a flat-out metalhead.
He really is.
It is so amazing, too, that a metalhead is the coach of a women's college basketball team. There's something about that doesn't jive, and yet Carl is not a good coach, and he's an elite women's college basketball coach.
Yes, he is. And she is elite at what she does, and she's been doing it a long time. Lee Spencer covers NASCAR for RacinBoys.com. That's racing without the G, RacinBoys.com. Follow Lee on Twitter at Candace Spencer. Lee, good morning. How are you?
Tired.
Yes.
It was a long night, a lot longer than any of us anticipated, to be quite honest with you.
Thanks for the honesty. We appreciate it.
Well, first off, to you and to all of the other folks that cover NASCAR, congratulations for doing your job correctly. It is nice to see how many people are complimenting the NASCAR press corps for, well, waiting for actual news to report on what happened on Ryan Newman, and nobody was jumping to the gun to be first. They waited to get it right, and you all need to be commended for that. On that note, is there any new news from the Newman camp? We know he's in serious condition, non-life-threatening issues, but has there been anything else this morning that you have to report for us, Lee?
Nothing conclusive to update, and as you said, nothing behind the scenes, and certainly I've covered Ryan since he first popped onto the scene, and heck, I covered his first Chili Bowl national start in January, so I've kind of seen every aspect of his driving career, and he's always been one of my favorite people to cover, and we're all just waiting, for something more concrete. And as you said, nobody wants to jump the gun. There are a lot of keyboard jockeys running around these days. Anybody who has a cell phone and a computer thinks they're a journalist. And I don't have to tell you guys. It's certainly the landscape of journalism, or what used to be journalism, has changed dramatically since we all got into the business. And well, that would be hard for me because my dad was on the air the night I was born. But it's just been tough waiting. And we were running around. I'd been at the Infield Care Center, 3 times before that last wreck. And so, the waiting is, as Tom Petty says, is the hardest part. But we just hope that he's okay. His girls were at the racetrack. He and his wife, Chrissy, both, posted statements at the start of the week that, the couple had separated after, one of the longest marriages in NASCAR. And, I don't know. It's been a tough week on the Newmans, and I think everybody in this case, especially with families going through right now, is really, really respecting their privacy.
Lee Spencer with RacinBoys.com, RacinBoys.com. Follow Lee on Twitter at Candace Spencer. Well, I'm not second-guessing here. I like racing. I've followed it and covered it from afar for over 30 years. I don't think they can do anything more and anything differently. I really don't. But usually when something like this happens, questions get asked. NASCAR says, all right, let's think about, is there any way we can prevent this in the future? Lee, is there any way that we can prevent this?
There isn't. And they had the car. They took the car. The car never made it back to the garage. I mean, I went back there, waited, just tried to get a sense of what the dynamic was. And I have to tell you, because I was there for Earnhardt when he died, and nobody thought that was a bad wreck, right? And his legacy will certainly be the advancements in safety that we have made over the last 19 years, because it's, about 19 years to the day that happened. So right. 2 decades later, here we are. And with Ryan being an engineer, he's got an engineering degree from Purdue. Yep. Purdue, hard for me to say, right? He's been one of the most, outspoken critics of NASCAR in safety. And I think, just nudging them, trying to expedite the advancements in the technology it be done to make these drivers, safer in the cockpit. Ryan won, Rookie of the Year battle in 2002, the year he actually beat Jimmie Johnson, and it's kind of like one of those little feathers in his cap. But he has been outspoken, for safety, and continues to talk about it to this day, over the course of his 2-decade-long career. And he was in the accident. He actually was in the race that, where Dale Earnhardt was killed. It was one of the few races that he won. And so, or maybe it was the year before, but I know he's one of only 2 guys that have raced with Earnhardt, and Kurt Busch is the other. And everybody else is retired at this point. So, this kind of gives you a sense of how long that they have been working on the safety aspect. But, you got to look at what Ryan has done and how he has pushed to continue the fight for safety with these drivers. But, when you're upside on your lid and you're drafting at, 200 plus miles an hour and somebody runs into the car, it's one thing for him just to be on his lid. And we saw that earlier in the week with, one of the trucks. But when you had that second hit, I think that's really the accident that took all of our breath away.
No doubt there. And in the midst of that was what was just an amazing finish with 3 different leaders in the last quarter mile, if you will, of the race. And Hamlin gets his 3rd. Lee, that puts him in pretty rarefied air, doesn't it?
Well, it does. When, you look at what he's been able to accomplish, going back-to-back for the first time since Sterling Marlin. I mean, that was, an absolutely huge accomplishment in itself. And There's only several drivers that have been able to accomplish that. Richard Petty, Cale Yarborough, Sterling Marlin. When you think about that, that's pretty sporty. And to get his third Daytona 500 victory, Bobby Allison, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, they're the only ones to be able to do that. And so you put him in those kind of names, and it certainly gives him, even if he never wins a championship, which he came close to last year, it certainly puts him in Hall of Fame consideration.
Lee, do you think they'll reconsider how many laps they're going to run to end these things? I mean, Earnhardt won his only 500 on a caution lap, and nobody criticizes the end of that race. But in the last 15 years, we've decided we're not going to end races under caution unless it's extreme circumstances. But, they ran 209 laps. I mean, at some point, do they need to revisit just how many times we're going to try to end this thing?
That's a really good question, because if you sat there with a calculator and figured out how many cars that we lost just over that last, course of cautions, and you had one of the second big ones occur, right there towards the end. I guess it was what triggered the first caution in overtime, put the cars into overtime, or one of the overtime ones. I mean, there were, I think, 17 cars on the lead lap at the end of that race. That's kind of crazy, and half the field was wiped out, and that's not unusual for a restrictor plate race, but it's why you put butts in the stands, but when there's that many cars, and of course, we had a red flag with what was the advertised 10 to go, but you took out, another dozen cars over those final, the final 10 laps, and so I mean that's a lot to take in consideration, and with the race being delayed, and you guys, like you said, you've been covering the sport kind of from afar for a long time. Now that they've changed the schedule, I don't think, the schedule looks all nice and pretty on paper, but when these guys have to get back to Charlotte and load these trucks and then go to Las Vegas, it's not like going to Atlanta. Atlanta is almost a home game for these guys because it's a 4-hour trip from Charlotte, but now they've got to go cross country, so everybody's rushed to get to the next place. It really puts a toll on these teams, not just the drivers, because, let's face it, these guys, a lot of them still have personal aircraft. They'll jump on a plane and pop out there. But the guys that are back at the shop that have to put these cars back together, not these cars, because, these cars will be obsolete after this race. But, just get packed and ready to go to put on the next show, and the next 3 shows are out on the West Coast. You're going to have a lot of tired puppies after the 4th race of the year.
There's no doubt there, and we've talked about this for the longest time on this show. It's never made sense to us why they go west after Daytona. They used to be Phoenix, now it's Vegas. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But the one thing, because of the two of us, Lee, David's the NASCAR guy. I'm not. I'm the first one to say it. I have guys that I like. Ross Chastain's from our neck of the woods. We've had him on. He's been great. Logano's been on a few times. I root for Joe, even though I'm sure he's not the most well-liked guy out there. But when I come home after a day and doing my thing, and had the daughter with me last night, I did something that I never did with my son, who's turned into a NASCAR fan. My 5-year-old daughter and I were watching NASCAR, and because Kyle Busch has an M&M car, she's in. But our poll question stemmed from that today. It was a primetime race. I don't care if it's on the weekend. The NFL's done really well with Thursday night football. NASCAR has an attendance problem. NASCAR has a viewership problem. Does it make any sense, not to do it all the time, Lee, but to have the occasional race in the summertime on a Thursday night? Does NASCAR need to look at this primetime thing and say, maybe there's some there?
Oh, absolutely, and which is why the network pushed for this. I mean, yesterday, for most people, President's Day, day off, you could have run the race during the day. People were home. They could have watched it. It's not like most people are stuck in a cubicle and had to set the VCR. And it makes absolute sense. I mean, I am all about Thursday night racing. I'm about Thursday night under the lights. I think it would be really easy to do. Certainly, for the Charlotte team, since we're a Charlotte-based sport, you could go to Atlanta. You could go to Rockingham. NASCAR's pushing really hard to change the schedule up for 2021. There's a lot of tracks out there that would love to host races. And a place like Martinsville's 2 hours from Charlotte, just 2 hours and change it takes us to get up there. You could really easy, now that track has lights, to put a Wednesday night show. Everybody's got campers. I don't want to hear the campers argument. This is not an argument about the people in the seats because, honestly, you're right. NASCAR's got an attendance problem. So what do? You put it during the weeks where more people can see it. You take the show out of its traditional southern markets and spread it across the country where people can see it. You have got to take the product at this point to them. You cannot wait for the fans to come to the racetrack because it's not happening. And with the millennials, it's not even, these people don't care about getting in their cars. I mean, it just, they're not attracted to cars. So, that's why you've had the e-sport NASCAR racing pop up to some degree because these people are happy to sit in their parents' basement and get on the computer and play racing or even watch it. I will never be an advocate for that, I got to tell you, because I'm somebody, if I have a night off, I'll go to a dirt track someplace when I'm, at a racetrack. And we have flown to New Zealand and Australia to watch racing in the off season. So, we're crazy. We enjoy it that much. And we enjoy the people. And I got to tell you, the Aussies and the New Zealanders, man, they have a hell of a time. They love it and they love their racing. And they come to Knoxville Nationals in Iowa. I mean, little Knoxville, Iowa. The Aussies and the New Zealanders, they cut the Kiwis, however you want to put it. They come in droves and come to watch racing in what is their winter. And it's really a pretty tight-knit family. But if you're going to go out and attract the new fan, you got to get that guy that I've always said All-Star. You want to test the market, do it during MLB All-Star Week, right? Because there's all those black days, and what are you watching during that time of the year? And now XFL has popped out there, so once the NFL season's gone, you got more football to watch. Hey, NASCAR has missed a bet over the last 10 years to be able to throw a race out during the middle of the week and try to capture a piece of the audience that might not be there the rest of the year.
Lee, thanks for making time for us. Really appreciate it. All the best. Safe travels. We can hear how tired you are. Be safe.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week, and hopefully next time we talk, it's under better circumstances.
It definitely will be. Lee Spencer, RacinBoys.com, Racing without the G, RacinBoys.com. You can follow Lee on Twitter at Candace Spencer. I've been doing it a long time. I first read Lee in the Sporting News, and she was one of those that I went up to Mark at my first Pocono races. A couple of members of the media that didn't know what I was doing, and I walked up to, and I'm like, could you help a kid from Jersey whose idea of racing is watching the Indy and Daytona 500 on television? So, Lee, one of those that you went to in the early days.
It's funny, on Twitch here, we got a few people commenting all different times. Someone was upset with something we said earlier, and I think they were from across the pond because it was a soccer thing, and they jump in and told us it was the worst stream ever. And I'm like, well, we've been at it 12 years, so I figure we know a little bit what we're doing. But right here, someone chimed in on Twitch and just bashed Lee, that said she literally just recommended everything that almost helped kill the sport. Yes, maybe you're right, but the sports world has changed drastically from when races were at Sunday at 1. And I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle anymore with any sport.
Yeah, I don't think Sundays at 1 is going to bring it back to the quote-unquote glory days. And she's not saying do it all the time, but she's like, I think they could.
Love the idea. Love the idea for MLB All-Star Week. It's a great time to,
which nothing's going on,
to sneak in there and put something on television.
Yeah, I don't think it would hurt.
Well, I mean, especially if you're racing on Fox at that time of year and All-Star games. I mean, got to work with your broadcast partners.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for watching and listening via FoxSportsFM.com or the Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. When we come back, today was the day when Pat Kerwin's about 40 minutes away talking all things NFL. We are Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Drive home with the Doug Gottlieb Show.
Let's not do this to Tua. He's not going to throw before the draft. You're going to take him all based upon his hip being okay and what you see on tape or on tape. How do I know that? Because I was born at night, not last night. I am ready to believe that he can be fine. I am not ready to believe that he'll have a pro day in which he throws before the draft.
Doug Gottlieb, afternoons at 3 on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
Dr. Jim DiRespino from C4MH in Frank's Garage today, talking about New Year's resolutions. It seems like every year we want to turn over a new leaf, right? We're going to eat healthier, we're going to get to the gym, and then come February 1st, what? Nothing? And most guys say, I just don't have any energy.
But guys, before you spend a ton of money on a gym membership and a personal trainer, go to C4MH.com. We have an express treatment program that will get you over $400 of blood tests, including total and free testosterone, and an in-office doctor consultation for only $45.
I'm a patient at C4MH, and it's safe, convenient, and affordable. Best part is, now I've got the energy to follow through with that New Year's resolution.
Exactly. Your workouts become super energized. Your $45 gets you information about the state of your body.
So guys, give yourself the gift of testosterone replacement therapy at C4MH.com. The leaders in low-T care, and make your resolution this year a successful one.
I love being a bartender. I love waiting tables. But at the end of my shift, my feet were killing me. And so I had to pretend like I was having a good time, and really, I couldn't wait to sit down. But it wasn't just my feet, it was also my knees were achy. A lot of neck pain, too. I was in so much pain, I kind of lost hope, really. And then I saw the Good Feet store, and that's when everything changed.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Kristen enjoy their work again without their feet getting in the way.
It was pretty shocking to realize that I'd been in so much pain, and suddenly I'm completely pain-free. Now that I have the Good Feet arch supports, I don't have to pretend to be happy. I'm genuinely happy. So, cheers. My name is Kristen, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Call 552-FEET or visit us in Naples or our newest store in Fort Myers.
Pool need a checkup? Call the doctor, the Pool Doctor.
Hi, Dr. Mark here. LED color-changing pool lights can create an after-dark backyard oasis. Pick your color or select one of the light shows. You can see how dramatic it really is on our website. We're a family company, and for over 40 years, we've been doing business right.
The prescription is the Pool Doctor for award-winning pool service, repairs, and unheard of $39 diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
Contact Miller and Moulton anytime. Call me Daddy. Save the Williamson Brothers Marine text and talk line to your contacts.
Who's got it better than us?
239-249-8167.
We are Fox Sports.
No matter where you're boating, with Towboat US, you're covered by the world's largest towing fleet with over 300 ports nationwide. Your local Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7, 365 days a year. Inland, the river to Lake O, and out 75 nautical miles. And new member specials are running all year. Call 239-945-1664 for more information, or visit towboatuscapecoral.com. With Towboat US, you're never stuck on the water.
We're on the phone with our good friend Tim Meister, owner of the Floor Meisters in Naples. TJ, we hear you've added several new colors of Core-Tec to your great lineup of products at the store. Tell us more about that.
We just ordered 5 new colors of Core-Tec for our stock. All nice, light, beautiful colors for Southwest Florida. That'll bring our total of 55 colors of Core-Tec in stock every day for purchase and take home.
And it's not just the many colors of Core-Tec that you have. You also have other Core-Tec products as well.
We also carry the Core-Tec Stone product. Looks like tile, looks like stone, but it's Core-Tec, so you get the softness, quietness, and the easy installation to go with it. We also have Core-Tec Wood. Look of wood, real wood, but with a more stable core for Southwest Florida's humidity.
If you haven't been to the Floormeisters, you really owe it to yourself to visit the store. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go online, floormeisters.com. That's floormeisters.com.
Here we go. Now back to Miller and Moulton. No. This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
Before 8 o'clock, Miller and Moulton, Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. Pat Kerwin, in a little over a half an hour, the first of our 2 weekly chats with him about all things NFL.
But first, it is time for Today Was the Day When.
Miller and Moulton's Today Was the Day When, giving you the history of today's date so you're a beacon of useless knowledge around the office.
Useless, but a lot of fun to talk about.
This is Today Was the Day When, Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
All right, I got to kill the music for this, David, because on YouTube, they, I don't know if they're communist or socialist, but they will not let you play music.
Well, we got to come up with our own music,
Well,
right?
no, but we do. The show stuff's fine, but like this, when we play a song in the background, like right now I'm playing the Ballad of John and Yoko, and then I think we're going to play a little Dr. Dre, but anybody watching can't hear it, because then I couldn't replay this on YouTube without them going bananas. But yet, if you want to watch a video, it's really easy to go to YouTube and watch one. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. A lot of things don't. 1804 is where we start today. The first U.S. land-grant college, Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, was chartered.
How about that?
Today in 1885, Mark Twain publishes The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I'm sure you're not allowed to read that in schools anymore. 1909, Boston began what would be a century of bad trades when they dealt Cy Young to the Cleveland Naps.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I hope the players to be named later really came through. 511 wins, that's all.
He was old. I mean, he was 41. They may have gotten rid of him, a year too late, if you know what I mean. Sonia Henning wins the gold medal at the St. Moritz Winter Games, first of 3 consecutive titles. William Cox, a New York lumberman, buys the Phillies today in 1943. At 33, becomes the youngest owner in baseball. Care to take a guess at what he spent for the Phillies in 43, David?
$12 million.
$850,000. Hell of a guess. 1944, the Cincinnati Reds signed a contract with Joe Nuxhall. He was 15. Just one day after playing a high school basketball game, he debuts later that year. 51, 3 City College of New York basketball players admit to accepting bribes.
CCNY was the big power in college hoops.
A lot of NIT titles.
Yes.
Because that was the big tournament.
That's right.
Today in 1960, the 8th Winter Games opened in Squaw Valley. 1962, in the 4th Daytona, Fireball Roberts dominates the event, leading 144 of 200 laps. And if I can't include Fireball Roberts in a show, what the hell is it worth doing? Giff announced his retirement from football because he got a broadcasting gig today in 65.
That was his second retirement because he took a year off with the concussions.
David Gilmour joins Pink Floyd today in 1968. In 73, Richard Petty wins his 4th Daytona 500 by more than 2 laps. I just want everybody to slow down for a second. We had a terrific finish. I mean, my goodness, a legendary all-time finish yesterday. No one had a problem with Petty winning by 2 laps.
Well, this is the pre-ESPN era, but remember we used to have Dave Despain on regularly. And Dave Despain talked about how back in the day it was not uncommon for people to win races by more than a lap. And nowadays people complain if somebody were to win by more than 2 seconds.
Right. Kiss plays their first hometown show today at Madison Square Garden in 1977. Today in 1978, the first Ironman triathlon took place. It's been going on that long.
Damn.
Right. 70, a lot of big Daytona moments this time of year, obviously. 79, Petty wins again, the 21st, but this was when Yarborough and Donnie Allison collide on the final lap. That's really the only memory of that. It was the first race broadcast start to finish, and they fought on television.
And there was a huge snowstorm throughout most of the country, and because of it, people didn't have anything to do, and they stay home and they watched the Daytona 500, and then they saw Yarborough and Allison get in the fight and Petty win, and a lot of people feel that it was one of those moments that catapulted the sport.
86, Alvin Robinson has the NBA's second quadruple-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 steals in San Antonio's win over Phoenix. 1991, Edmonton Oilers' Grant Fuhr returns after a season-long suspension for substance abuse and proves everybody that it worked well. He shut out New Jersey 4-0. 94, the Shreveport Pirates, David, joined the CFL as the fourth U.S.-based team, and we've already mentioned it several times that it was in 2001, the 43rd 500. Michael Waltrip wins on the crash where Earnhardt lost his life. And finally, David, for you, I couldn't help but point this out, that it was 1 year ago today that Tom Dundon agreed to invest $250 million into the Alliance of American Football. Did any of that money make its way to you?
And it is still going strong. No? No.
If you were born today, you share your birthday with Yoko. That's why we did the Ballad of John and Yoko, born today in 1933. Manny Mota, born in 1938, just because of the movie Airplane. Manny Mota. Julie Rankin, LPGA golfer, born today in 45. Dennis D. Young from Styx, born in 47. Sybil Shepherd and John Hughes. Sybil Shepherd from Moonlighting. John Hughes did every teenage film that we watched in our lives, born today in 1950. Juice Newton, David, born today in 52. John Travolta was born today in 1954. Andy Moog, just because I like saying his name, born today in 1960.
The backup to Grant Fuhr.
That's right. Matt Dillon, the other Dillon, born in 64. Dr. Dre, born in 1965. And Molly Ringwald, born today in 1968. And that is, today was the day when, on this 18th of February in 2020. Pat Kerwin coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. And we'll talk a little more NASCAR and a little more baseball. Wow. Who would have thunk it, David? Miller and Moulton. Fox Sports Radio.
I'm proud of you.
You're clear. Hi, this is Rich Castellano. I invite you to come check out the world-famous cigar bar.
Nobody beats the world-famous cigar bar. Southwest Florida's original cigar bar since 1996. With locations in historic downtown Fort Myers, Gulf Coast Town Center, and Cape Coral. Sit at the bar or relax in the lounge in comfort with plenty of TVs at all three locations where you can watch your favorite sports in comfort. Step into the humidor and let one of our experienced tobacconists help you pick the perfect cigar from our great selection. And the liquor, martinis, single malt scotches, small batch bourbons, high-end cognacs, and a great selection of craft beers. Nothing can compare to the selection, experience, and atmosphere of the world-famous cigar bar in historic downtown Fort Myers at the corner of First and Henry, at the Gulf Coast Town Center Mall next to Outback Steakhouse, and in Cape Coral on 47th Terrace in the Big John's Plaza.
Good times, great cigars at the world-famous cigar bar.
And don't forget Cigar Bar Live downtown.
We're simple people. I'm an idiot. And being simple means...
What?
You understand what we do.
Wait a minute.
24 hours a day.
There were some moments.
For 19 years straight.
It's a very weird time to be alive.
That's where we're at right now.
Hit us up. We give you the best sports and entertainment talk on your radio.
I'm trying to create a little bit of drama.
Imagine that. And what I mean by that is...
This is Fox Sports Radio.
Why would someone take a chance on purchasing a frameless shower door from a big box store or an online discounter of an obscure brand, and then try and find a licensed, qualified installer to put it in, when you can deal directly with a local, family-owned business that consults, measures, manufactures, and installs their own award-winning brand of shower doors? My Shower Door is a family-owned and operated business and has the highest ratings on Angie's List and Home Advisor. Want to see more? Go to myShowerDoor.com.
The sports station with balls. And strikes. We also have strikes. WFSX AM from Naples to Cape Coral and all of Southwest Florida. We are Fox Sports.
What's trending now on Fox Sports Radio is sponsored by Stevie Tomato Sports Page in Naples, Fort Myers, and Cape Coral.
There's only one way to wake up in the morning.
How the heck are you?
Yep, that's it. Miller,
Shelter from the storm, huh?
and Moulton.
Yeah, sounds like a song.
Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
All guests appear on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Hotline. Goldberg-law.com.
It's up to you now. It's up to you.
Didn't know what that meant there, but that just updates is
The best
Daytona
local
International
sports show
Speedway.
this town has ever
I
heard.
didn't. How would I know
Here's
what that means?
Miller and Moulton.
You're live. Couple minutes past 8 o'clock on this Tuesday after a President's Day weekend. Don't know how many days you had off. We took 4. We took Friday and Monday. And then we'll be in a good little run here of not missing a whole lot of time for the next 3 months. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio, streaming at foxsportsfm.com, broadcasting live many a place, including on the new Miller and Moulton YouTube and Twitch TV channels. Guests join us via the Goldberg Noon Abraham Law Firm Hotline, local people, local practice, local knowledge, goldberg-law.com, and Pat Kerwin will join us in about 25 minutes.
So something happened also yesterday that we've not really talked about. You mentioned it in the starting five. And I will say, having been a resident of this state and lived in this area for a while, I think there's a you-know-what storm coming today in the Triangle area of North Carolina, particularly in and around Chapel Hill.
Why is
Because
that?
not only did the Tar Heels blow another game in
did.
disgusting fashion last night,
They've lost like 5 by 3 or less, haven't they?
I think
mean,
this makes 6 now with
Wow.
last night's, which they had a stat late in the game. In the last 5 years, they've only lost that many games by 3 or less, and they've done that this year. They blew a 15-point second-half lead on the road and lost by 1. But I don't think that's going to be the story.
Okay.
Roy in the post-game presser laid his team out. And in doing so, he slipped.
And fell?
No. To me, no. If he would have slipped and fallen, there would have been a lot of people worried about Roy Williams. And I
Right.
think there are going to be people coming after him today.
Why?
Dropped an F-bomb in the post-game presser. And I just want to explain. I lived there. In Chapel Hill and with the diehard Tar Heel fan, that is not going to go over well.
He apologized.
Oh,
right
he
away.
apologized.
It slipped out.
He apologized vehemently.
I mean, he said freaking twice.
Well,
but one time he lost his freak. And he said the other thing.
Right.
And,
He said you've got 2 choices. You can compete your butt off, or you can get in the fetal position and curl up and start crying. I'm not going to freaking do that. We're not going to. And then he let it slip. And anyone, excuse me, I apologize to everybody. I apologize. And I mean, he caught himself in the moment. I'm just telling you, I lived in North Carolina for a while. The North Carolina, longtime North Carolina fan, there are grandmas freaking out today because they heard that press conference.
Because he
said the F word.
Slipped?
Yeah. I think, oh my goodness, I think they are going to freak out today. Maybe I'm wrong, but I like literally.
What? I mean,
I think it'll be on the news talk show, and I think it's going to go a little something like this. Dorothy in Fuqua Varina is on the line. Hello, Dorothy. Hello. I can't believe Coach Roy said that. What does it come to that the coach of the University of North Carolina cusses in front? We were all watching that. And I know he apologized, and that's very Christian of him. But I just don't know if I can watch them the same way with Roy as our coach anymore because, well, he used that word.
Yes, he did. Have you seen the way they've played this year, Dorothy? I'm surprised it took them until mid-February to say that word. I would have said it much sooner.
You never should talk to that way to in and around women.
Dorothy, you do know they didn't have to go to class for 25 years. You're worried about him saying the F word.
Now, I don't know what you're implying by that, but when they didn't go to class, we won blanket national championships.
Dorothy, you just slipped.
She already hung up. She's mad at you. I'm telling you, maybe I'm wrong.
What town was that, by the way?
Fuqua Varina. It's outside of Raleigh.
Is it?
Yeah.
How many people live there?
It's a little bit bigger than you'd think.
Well,
it's a reasonably sized suburb of the greater Raleigh area.
Town of Frenchy Fuqua? I mean, what are we talking here? Anytime you can go Frenchy Fuqua, come on now. That's a quality reference.
Population of 27,906.
Okay.
It is in Wake County. It was only 18,000 last census. So I mean, it's blowing up.
Well, you know why?
Both Fuqua and Varina.
249-8167. 249-8167. Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. I will say, he's looking old this year. He really is. He's looking old. His team's not playing well, and he's looking old. And the all shucks and dadgummit, I'd actually feel good if I was a North Carolina fan, because the all shucks routine kind of lost its charm with me. I mean, don't give me this all shucks routine.
I got you. I'm with you.
We're 10-16, for goodness sakes. We're North Carolina.
Look at everybody in Raleigh proper and Chapel Hill proper is okay with it. I'm just telling you, the outlying areas, it is going to be a rough day.
All right, fair enough. I can't wait now to check it out sometime this afternoon.
I'm actually going to have to text a couple buddies of mine, and I'm going to do a little R&D, David, for you. I'm going to find out and see if people are, because I think people will be upset.
I'm going to direct message Josh Graham there, who I think's now in Raleigh, and I'm going to say, all right, you need to let me know what the show's like. We've got a little gentleman's
side wager
here.
Right, exactly. And obviously we've talked some NASCAR today, 500 yesterday. It's actually been our poll question, and it was my idea.
Right. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? You know why? It's all because your daughter loves the M&M car, and you were watching sports with your daughter. And you thought
she was locked in. I sent my son a picture of my daughter just locked in.
It's great television. I mean, it is. If you either, when you watch NASCAR on TV, you just see it as nothing but left turns and it's the most boring thing in the world that makes golf look exciting, or there's no sport that's televised better than NASCAR. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
Really?
Yes. I think it's an amazing job. The camera work, the microphones, an amazing job. I think it's the one sport that they could do without announcers. They always talk about, they had the announcerless game 35 years ago in the NFL. I think you could do NASCAR without announcers. That's how well it's televised.
I thought Gordon was terrific. I think he adds a lot more than DW ever did because he's still half racing, if you know what I mean. I think it's good on television. You know me, where I love the sports radio. I can listen to the MRN network. I mean, you want to make a leisurely drive, there's nothing that gets you through it like MRN radio. I'm one of those that I answer yes to the first. I like some of the pit stuff. I like watching the action, but I will say, I'm just telling you, last night my wife watched her very first NASCAR race with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to answer. I really almost needed to call you and say, talk to someone who knows.
Well, you could do that.
But she kept asking, well, when's it going to be over? How long are they going to sit there? Because there's a red flag. I'm like, I don't know until they get the track clear. And it's when's it end? I go, I don't know that either. I wouldn't know. But she hates soccer.
Right.
Completely hates it.
Why?
Because at the end of the game, she goes, when's this damn thing going to end? What is this added time? It makes no sense to her. She's an American. She wants the clock to run down and for it to be over. You can have to ask her because I don't really try to.
I've got the perfect analogy to put her in her place.
I try to just let her talk and not pay a lot of attention when this goes on. But with NASCAR, she's going, when's it going to end? I go, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, it may never end. Why? Right. Well, because we have to have one lap, and then we'll have another lap, and it'll be over. But if they crash on the first lap, then we're going to start this whole fiasco over. So that's dumb. And I'm just saying, for someone watching for the first time, when there's no ending, it is hard to explain to someone watching for the first time, when is this going to end? How does it end? And I'm just sitting there going, I don't know.
I would have said to her, I said, listen, you make a dadgum good point. NASCAR's been trying to figure out the proper way to finish races for about 15 years. So that's a very valid point that you make. Don't feel as if, since you're a NASCAR novice, that you can't make that point. That's actually a dadgum good point, because they don't know. They change it damn near every year.
It was just that those were observations from someone who was a sports fan.
Right.
I mean, because my wife is a sports fan.
Yeah, she's a huge sports fan.
Watches damn near everything. Likes certain things more than others, but was watching that. And even though that and soccer are very different, the endings are similar in that you don't know when the hell the damn thing's going to be over with.
Our poll question is because since the race ended in prime time and on a weekday.
Glorious.
And so we asked
Monday night racing, everybody.
Should NASCAR do a little more primetime racing? Now, primetime can be on Saturdays and Sundays, too. Just should they do a little more primetime racing? That's all. Yay or nay. No wrong answer.
55% of you, nearly 55% saying yes, they should.
All right. Interesting. We think maybe during the summer months wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to try a Monday or a Thursday night race. You know, this thing called the NFL plays games on those nights. Seems to be doing okay. So I thought it might be worth a shot. Not every week, etc., but a handful of them a year, maybe 4 or 5, something like that.
And then the other big topic, because we have been off since Thursday, everything Astros has happened since the last time we were on the air. From Crane making an awkward press conference seem worse with his answers, to the players in their canned statements that were god-awful, to Cody Bellinger blasting the Astros, and then the Astros taking offense and fighting back.
I'll tell you what, if we were doing a show in Houston, the poll question would be, so who did worse today, Jim Crane or the players? Honestly, every time the Astros talk, they make it worse.
Well, and we had said this from the get-go, though, David. It was the one thing we talked about. How do you answer this? Because every answer that you give then leads to another question. And that's how Crane got himself in trouble, because really the one answer that killed him, even though the whole thing was horrific, when he said, basically, we were a good baseball team and we still would have won the World Series. It didn't affect us winning the World Series.
Didn't help us at all, which, of course, then begs the question, then why'd you do it?
And you only won your home games in the World Series, where you were cheating.
Well, they won a couple of road games, but their home numbers were so much better
Staggering.
than road in that playoffs. They were. There's no
Staggering.
doubt.
And you know, to the point of Correa defending Altuve, saying he didn't cheat and all that, well, one of the things that Bellinger said is that Altuve's MVP should be taken away. Not just the World Series, but the MVP. Aaron Judge was robbed of an MVP. And if Altuve didn't cheat, it is impossible to me to dispute the fact that the cheaters didn't help Altuve win the MVP. You're pitched too differently when there are runners on base. And he obviously was in far more positions with runners on base than he would have been if his entire team wasn't stealing signs and cheating. So I'm with Cody Bellinger on the MVP. There is no way you can justify this MVP going forward. You can't.
But as we've said many times, most people don't care about individual awards, even though there are many different things that can be tied to them, like bonuses, and therefore what you make one year and what you could make in others, and service time, and all that. It can be very complicated, and people really don't care.
And Bellinger then doubled down when it came to the Altuve home run, the clinching home run.
Against Chapman last year to win the pennant.
And he rounds the bases and won't let anybody rip his jersey off, and he's holding, really tightly to the chest area of his jersey. And originally the story was his wife didn't want she's very shy of him or very protective of him, however you want to look at it, and didn't want his jersey ripped off. And then Carrera says it was a bad tattoo that Altuve, that wasn't finished, that he didn't want to see. So Altuve spent yesterday parading around the clubhouse without a shirt on to show off said tattoo. But apparently now it's okay for him to be naked, and the wife must have gotten over all of this.
Right. Well,
we don't know which story it was.
He was shy. He was shy also. That was part of the story.
Right.
That's what he said live in the postgame after hitting the pennant, because he was actually asked about the celebration, and, hey, you didn't want him ripping your jersey off, and he said, well, I'm shy.
And as many have pointed out, rounding the bases in the biggest hit of your career, maybe the biggest hit you will ever have in your life, your thoughts are about your shyness and your jersey.
Yeah, it seems like a stretch. It does, and let's face it, right now they do not get the benefit of the doubt, which is clearly bothering them. But I'm wondering, does Rob Manfred have an opportunity for a mulligan? Now, I don't believe he can have one, which is what seemingly most of the fans want, and even a large number of the players, which is to punish the players individually. He made a deal. A deal is a deal, correct? Come on now. Just because we don't like the deal doesn't mean that a deal is not a deal. The prosecutors offered immunity. Immunity was accepted. Therefore, the players cannot be punished. What have we learned from Law and Order? What have we learned from Blue Bloods? All right, what is it that has to happen? The person making the deal has to lie. Then the immunity deal can be vacated. And for me, that is what Manfred, if he wants to give himself a mulligan, if going around to every spring training city and doing interviews and getting verbally beaten up, if he grows weary of it, and if the Players Association and a large group of owners behind the scene go, hey, you got to do more than this. I'm telling you, this isn't sitting well with us. You need to do more. Then Manfred needs to create something. And by create, it may even mean lie. He needs to give himself a mulligan by saying something to the effect of, we've come up with new information, something has changed, therefore I'm going to inflict further punishment and or original punishment on some of the players. But he has to have the Players Association support off the record, wink, wink, nod, nod, behind the scenes to do it. What I'm wondering is, where are the owners? Where are the other owners? If you were an owner, Mark, how would you feel about this? Would you want Manfred and this action? Because to me, you haven't been strong enough here. You have not persuaded cheating in the future. You have.
Yeah, I'm telling you, David, as an owner, what am I thinking? Let's see.
I
am being very serious.
But do you
what am I
only care
thinking
about the bottom line?
Well,
if so, you think Rob Manfred's doing a great job and just take your lumps. That's why we pay you. And
but the bottom line, could it be affected by integrity? Because that's the question you're asking yourself. Because ultimately, if you don't think so, then you are going to just stick behind Manfred, because you look at what this man's franchise is worth post-World Series victory, and it's worth $700 million more than it was. So as a baseball owner, I'm going,
Yeah, you're darn right.
I mean, this is not a baseball purist dilemma. Baseball purist hates every bit of this. Managers, whatever. Baseball owners are not baseball purists. They're not. They're business people. And they're looking at this going, so I cheat. He cheated. His franchise is now worth close to $2 billion. It was worth $1.3 when he won the World Series. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. It becomes a dilemma of the long-term credibility of your sport.
Yeah,
is it that diminished? And I think, honestly, me as an owner, probably not. I think the owners would be, pretty 50-50 on this, because they're so bottom-line driven.
Owners to me. I would be impressed if behind the scenes it was 50-50. I really would. 15 billionaires annoyed enough to say to Manfred, hey, you need to do more.
Well, are they annoyed because their franchise, your franchise could have been the one that's worth $700 million more. I don't know if they're annoyed because of the cheating. Are they annoyed they didn't think of it? There's a lot of things that would be going through these owners' heads. But I think if it's not half, I think there's got to be a third that are pretty damn honked off.
Yeah, I don't think there are more than 5. I don't think they care. I think they care only about the bottom line. And I think they also go, hey, don't come down too hard on them, because who knows, maybe it could be my franchise one day. I'm half paying attention. Who knows what goes on? That's my feeling. I don't get what would get any indignation. Is there been an owner, Hank Steinbrenner? I think it was Hank. Could have been Hal. One of the Steinbrenners. A little bit. Dipped their toes into the water a little bit when this story first broke. Have you heard an owner say anything about this at all? See, that to me, that's their way of saying, can we just make this go away? Please. All right, we play games for real in 6 weeks. Red Sox owners are like, ticket sales are down 15%. I really could care less about the Astros. Besides, I don't want to say anything. Don't hit us too hard in the next week and a half when you find out whatever you find out.
I will say this. The first month of the season, I don't know if I've ever been more keyed up to watch Astros games.
That's another thing that came about over the weekend. Dusty Baker publicly says, all these people saying that they're going to hit our players. Commissioner, you need to do something about this. Our players are being targeted. And Manfred said, you know what, Dusty, you're right, which only further honked off the rest of the players. So, let me get this straight. They cheated and they're not punished. And now, because we're honked off and we may plunk a couple of them in the ribs, guys who have hit home runs off us because they knew what was coming, now we're going to get punished more for hitting Altuve than we are if we hit Judge? Seriously? Seriously, that's your logic. And you're sticking to it. And Manfred's like, yeah, we can't be having this. Mark, if
you don't want the players to police the sport, you did a hell of a job to tell them not to. I mean, you did nothing.
Well, right.
That's the thing. You did nothing, Manfred. So who do you expect to take care of this?
But Manfred doesn't believe he did nothing. Manfred believes he did a lot. I will say this. There have been quite a few mea culpas in the national baseball media in the last week. Joel Sherman did it yesterday in the New York Post, in which he said, I got to admit, I thought Manfred hit him pretty hard at first. And now I'm realizing, man, was I wrong. I was more wrong than Manfred. So
I guess you and I were right on that because we thought it was laughable.
Yeah, right out.
The $5. We knew the $5 million was the maximum, but that's where you knew the hypocrisy started. When a franchise is worth $700 million more, it's worth $2 billion, and you hit them for $5 million. Oh, okay, take away some draft picks. Okay.
Well, there was one.
Dave Sampson was on our show, and he thought it was a horrific crime that they took away all these draft picks. This is going to kill them. I mean, he really was. He thought the punishment was very severe.
Yes, but he also said that he would do it to win a World Series. I mean,
yes.
He also was like, let me get this straight. A couple of draft picks. I got to sacrifice a GM and a manager and a $5 million check. Win the World Series? Yeah, I'd do that. So that's out there. Manfred's supposed to speak again today. Can somebody give him some advice and say, hey, don't talk this week? The whole week. Could you try to have this go away? You're going to talk next week and hand penalties down on the Red Sox. Why don't you not talk between now and then? How about that? Because this whole talking every day thing ain't working for you. I got to tell you that.
Don't know when it ever has, David.
I mean, it's great for us.
Well,
not
yes.
good for him.
But I mean, even we don't like to talk every day. That's why we took Friday and Monday off.
Every now and then we need to stop talking. Which is what I'm going to do right now. Miller and Moulton, Pat Kerwin next. Thanks for listening. Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
You're clear.
Our sound is a sound that makes you
So-
stop.
I have an idea
Listen to me and you listen well.
that really has no interest in you or the show. My mother has a contest every year with her friends. They've been doing it since they worked together. Where they compete for birthday cards. And they used to work together, so they would put them up on their desk. And my mother has always beaten KT. I want to make an announcement for this, and I want to see if I can get birthday cards for KT to go viral.
We're on the
and
phone
see
with
how
our
many
good friend
cards
Tim
we can get her
Meister, owner
sent.
of the Floor Meisters in Naples. TJ, we hear you've added several new colors
badly.
of Cortec to your great lineup of products at the store. Tell us more about that.
We just ordered 5 new colors of Cortec for our stock. All nice, light, beautiful colors for Southwest Florida. That'll bring our total of 55 colors of Cortec in stock every day for purchase and take home.
And it's not just the many colors of Cortec that you have. You also have other Cortec products as well.
We also carry the Cortec Stone product. Looks like tile, looks like stone, but it's Cortec, so you get the softness, quietness, and the easy installation to go with it. We also have Cortec Wood, look of wood, real wood, but with a more stable core for Southwest Florida's humidity.
If you haven't been to the Floor Meisters, you really owe it to yourself to visit the store. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go online, floormeisters.com. That's floormeisters.com.
You own a home with a tile or shingle roof? You live between Port Charlotte and Marco Island? Hello, I'm Jimmy Williamson with Williamson Brothers Roofing. If you answered yes to either question, it's very likely your roof suffered damage from Hurricane Irma that's not visible from the ground, and you may very well be entitled to a new roof for little or no money out of pocket. But you only have a 3-year window to make a claim, and time is running out. If you have a tile or shingle roof and live between Port Charlotte and Marco Island, call us at 239-283-2013. It's a free, no-obligation inspection that can benefit you in the form of a new roof. Williamson Brothers Roofing, we deal with the insurance carrier for you. Call us at 239-283-2013. Again, time is running out. Call us at 239-283-2013. Williamson Brothers Roofing specializes in the claims process. We have experts standing by. We get claims approved. 239-283-2013.
I'm a busy person.
Catch the show anytime. Check out MillerandMoulton.com and subscribe to the daily podcasts.
If a car dealer asks you for your tax refund, don't do it. If you've made a deposit, get it back. Gotta go to Galliana. Other dealers want your tax refund. At Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers, we don't need it. Right now, during the President's Day event, new Jeep Renegade Latitude, $189 per month. New Grand Cherokee Laredo, $269 per month. New Jeep Gladiator Sport 4x4, $279 per month. Over 1,100 Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams. All at the absolute best prices in Southwest Florida. Qualifying purchases with 0 down and no monthly payments till August. That's right, 0 down and no monthly payments till August. And exclusive of that offer, Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers will give you $6,000 minimum for any trade in any condition, running or not.
Can't
at
see
Galliana
Seinfeld,
Chrysler
but he's
Dodge
sitting
Jeep
to
Ram,
Oprah's
1/2 mile
left
south of
off
Daniels
screen.
Parkway on US 41 in Fort
Amazing
Myers.
to think
Open
there was
every
that
day,
much
including
unknown
Sunday.
talent on the
Call
same stage at once. Oprah was
239-481-2600.
32.
GallianaCars.com.
This is an 86 Carson. Oprah's 32. Seinfeld is sitting to her left. He was the other
Hey
guest.
guys, C4MH.com, the leaders in low-T care, want you to know that not all low-T clinics are the same.
And Seinfeld's not on.
C4MH.com has been treating low-T
Seinfeld
for
hasn't
5+ years and
That's
offers
all-
express treatment
Right.
with $45 labs and initial exam. Most importantly,
And he's on before
C4MH.com
Oprah.
uses only real
If he's to
pharmaceutical
the left.
testosterone with
He was a
pedigree
pretty good
papers
stand-up.
required by Florida law and never cheap-cut rate compounded testosterone. C4MH.com
She's the third guest.
only treats
Seinfeld's
low-T,
probably the
so
second.
no high-pressure sales for other medical treatments. No teeth whitening,
She's
no
a
weight
P.
loss, no hair loss treatments. C4MH.com offers
Are ya?
straightforward low-T care available with the highest quality meds, friendly staff, and 16 locations from Naples to Wesley Chapel. And guys, C4MH patients have
Few
access
weeks
to
or month from her
low-cost
show
equivalents
getting to
Viagra
LA.
and Cialis, and an affordable non-injectable version of HCG.
She was promoting
Plus,
the
every
color
low-T
purple.
treatment comes with a B12 treatment at no extra charge. So guys, if you want the best low-T care, go with the best. Go with the low-T
3
leaders
years
at
away from
C4MH.com.
Seinfeld being on NBC.
Now back to Miller and Moulton.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
No. This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live. "28 minutes past 8 o'clock on this Tuesday edition of Miller and Moulton. We are Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio. A month from today, Mark, a month from today, NFL free agency begins. Brady,
Cuckoo-cuckoo.
Breeze, Dak, Rivers, Tannehill, Derrick Henry, A.J. Green, Amari Cooper, Chris Jones, Ngoku, Clowney, Shaq Barrett. Right now, all of them scheduled to hit the open market. Now, we got tags, we got signings. Hell, there may only be 3 of those who hit the open market. But as of today, they are all scheduled to hit the market a month from today. He's Pat Kerwin. He's kind enough to join us once again. And he does so courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West, and many points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. Got to admit, Pat, that sounds exciting. I'm ready. A month from today, we can get half those guys on the market. Sign me up.
Well, everybody's dreaming about getting the 5 guys they need to make their team great, and it's just not going to happen. I will say this. The average team's sitting there with $45, $46 million of cap space, and a lot of them have the cash to get into the business of buying players, but there's a lot of GMs that don't believe you can build a team or create a Super Bowl championship team, with free agents. You can use some of them, and I think you have to use some of them. But some of the guys are going to get tagged. Other guys are going to... Players, I'll say this. There's a lot of players that don't... They think they wanted free agency till they're on the doorstep of it, and then they get nervous, and then what they had before looks better and appealing to them, especially if they got a wife and kids. And a lot of guys stay home and take a deal at home. I mean, the biggest problem coming up, you guys, is that the CBA is going to get resolved, and then the TV deal is going to come. So how do you write a contract today that's going to overlap the expansion of the salary cap and expansion? And I keep saying we're going to eventually have to go to deals at a percentage of cap, especially for the quarterbacks. But it's an exciting time if you like all the off-season stuff. Football is now 365 days a year, and we have a theme for almost every month, and here comes free agency.
Yeah, it's at least 3:30. There's no doubt. We might get part of June off. There's a little bit of a dead period. But Pat, you know, David started talking about all the guys that are going to be free agents. I know one of the things you usually do, and I don't know if you've done it yet, so I'm a little scared to ask this question. But talk to me from the team standpoint. Who has the most work to do before free agency? Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of guys coming out, but what team may have the most free agents, the most different things that they're going to want to rectify in the next 30 days with signing guys, with offering guys, so that they don't lose as many players? You know, we've talked about Tennessee and all their losses. I know San Francisco has a decent number of guys. Who to you is in jeopardy of their roster really being dismantled because of too many guys leaving?
Well, it's a great question. So let's start with the Vikings. There's a twofold answer. Do you have guys under contract, and are you going to be projected to be over the salary cap, and you got to get under it? Minnesota right now is the team that has the most to dump or reconfigure, and some guys aren't going to take the reductions. There's a lot of different things here. Restructure, which means I'm giving you the same amount of money in a different way. That's called signing bonus. And then there's reductions, and some guys will say no. So the Vikings' schedule will be $10 to $12 million over the salary cap. Are going to have to make some decisions along the way, and are they going to approach their quarterback and lock him up long term and thin out that deal this year? That's a possibility. Pittsburgh is going to be over the cap only by a few million, so they can figure theirs out. Jacksonville is really bad when you're over the cap and you're not a good team. So there's going to be some issues there. And then there's going to be these new head coaches. I mean, go look at Ron Rivera. He's dumping players already. So what really happens in this world is there's basically 250 rookies coming into the market, one way or the other, whether it's draft 256 or undrafted free agents. And what are they really doing? In the simple math of life, they are taking 250 veteran jobs away, and 250 veterans are going to see the street. Well, a lot of times when those guys see the street, someone else who's on a team is going to be perceived as not as good as the new guy on the street, and they're going to swap out their guy for them. So at the end of the day, there'll be 250 veterans out of work for good, and there's musical chairs going on while that's happening. So we're seeing dumped players already. Greg Olson dumped, Paul Richardson dumped out, and so they're in the market. Josh Norman, Vernon Hargreaves, Tony Jefferson. They're just adding to the market. And what happens when that goes on is the leverage players think they're going to have in free agency changes because more guys are added. So the corner population is, I'm sure Trey Waynes and Byron Jones and Bradbury and those guys say, hey, this is going to be great. Then all of a sudden they see Norman and Hargreaves and now Chris Harris added to it, and their agents are going, hey, our market's shrinking a little bit. People aren't going to spend the same kind of money because there's more people in the pool. So the economics, Mark, is going to be the dynamic that changes a lot of this, and then you'll see guys run back and take a deal at their home team. It happens more than people can even imagine. So free agency sounds great, but for a significant percentage of guys, they don't want anything to do with it once they decide, I guess this is when it's going to happen, and it doesn't look as good right now as it did before.
He's Pat Kerwin of CBS's NFL Today show, also moving the chains weekday afternoons on NFL Radio with his co-host Jim Miller. Pat joins us Tuesdays and Fridays throughout the season and Wednesdays during the off season, and we determine when that period is, somewhere from,
I think it's June, according to Mark.
Right. It's 3 weeks in June. All right. And Pat, help me out here. I'm a little confused about the Lions. The owner has given the GM and the head coach a win ultimatum. I'm not sure what that means. I think it means above 8 to keep their job. So they want to trade Darius Slay. He's, I think, a number one corner or pretty damn close to it, and he's only making $10 million, which is reasonable, I think. And they're like, we got to get rid of him. I'm confused. If you're in a rebuild, okay. But if you're in a win now mode, are you really going to spend that $10 million better than Darius Slay? I'm confused. What are they doing here? They're not trading their quarterback because they're in a win now mode. All right, when they could draft his replacement at number 3, but they're going to trade their best corner? What are they doing?
Well, they got to find a trade partner first. Remember, part of the equation with him, which you conveniently left out, David, is that he said, I want to be the highest paid corner in football. Well, that changed the dynamic for Detroit. They're not going to make him the highest paid corner in football. And now the problem is, who are you trading him to? You're inheriting a guy, if you trade for him, that wants to be the highest paid corner. So unless you see him as the highest paid corner, I take my $10 million that I'm going to get back on him and go buy someone for $6 million that can play. They lost. This is a quote from a coach. They already lost with him. So can it get any worse without him? And I mentioned a bunch of guys. Do you think some of the guys on that list, Eli Apple, Breland, Anthony Brown, Ronald Darby, Josh Norman at this point in his life, and I'm not here to endorse any of them, wouldn't take $6-7 million after they see how things go? So here's the other side of the question. All right, Slay, let me name a couple corners that were in the Pro Bowl with you. Are you better than Jalen Ramsey, Richard Sherman? I know Richard said something because Richard's a union rep. Joe Hayden, Marlon Humphrey, Gilmore, Trey Waynes. You want more than all those guys? So signability is now the biggest problem with him. And they can take his $10 million and go get other things done with it. The coach of the team is a defensive guy. He knows what he's asking guys to do. And I guarantee he thinks there's guys out there he can get. Now, if the guy wants to play for $10 million, go ahead and play. But if you want $15 or $16 million, which is what he says he wants, and you're going to hold out on a year that I got to win games, and you're going to be a problem for me, I'll do what I can to get a draft pick for you, and I'll go sign one of these other guys. So I get it. So it's not hard for me to understand. You know, if he didn't say he wanted to be the highest paid corner and was going to do something about it, then I said, you just listen to him bark, and then when it's time to bite, he'll be there. But they're at a position and a point now where they can't deal with and tolerate that. So I get what they're trying to do. I don't think they're going to get a lot from him because no one wants to pay him $16 million.
Pat, David started this out mentioning all these quarterbacks that could potentially be free agents. Let's just go to New Orleans because we've not heard really anything out of anyone, and I guess we'll start hearing a little bit more. One of the things Dave and I have been talking about, you'll kind of get an idea of what's going on based on who isn't re-signed or who isn't being talked about. First off, do you think every day that goes on is more likely or less likely that Drew Brees retires? And if he does, in your New Orleans, what do you do?
Well, I don't think he'll retire. I think he's still playing at a high level. I think he's just taking some time off. He's deeply entrenched in New Orleans, his family and everything else, his kids and flag football and all the things they do. So Mickey Loomis is always a guy that knows how to do a deal. He can figure it out. And I think he'll be back. So I'd vote on him being a Saint quarterback. I don't think he's going anywhere. Now, if he retires, which is the second part of your question, I'm not handing that football to Hill and thinking, you've thrown 13 passes in your life and now you're our guy. I think they just turn around and try to get Teddy Bridgewater signed and bring Hill back as well. Hill can't go anywhere. Put a high tender on him. And I think it's pretty funny when I hear Sean Payton going, well, someone will come after him. Everyone who has a good player who puts a restricted free agent tender on the guy thinks someone's coming after him. Are you really giving up a first-round pick? And I don't care if it's at the bottom of the round. You're going to really give up a first-round pick for Hill because he threw 13 passes? He's a Swiss Army knife. And maybe in time, but he's already 30 years old, maybe in time you're nurturing a full-blown starting quarterback. But I'm going to take my chances on Teddy Bridgewater. He's 28. Where's that? Teddy's 2 years younger than Hill. I'll bring Teddy back in. That's what I trained Teddy for. If free agency starts and Drew hasn't decided and Teddy gets an offer from someone, then we got a problem because you could end up losing both of them.
When should we start hearing things like, I keep thinking about Tennessee, if they're going to bring back Henry and Tannehill, they could do that today. So at what point do you start, if you're their agents, realizing, they're probably going in a different direction because you would think we would have had this locked up by now?
Well, they could put a franchise tag on a guy without even talking to him. And I promise you the agents have talked to the club. And they can say they're not talking, but that's usually the same shield, that New England uses. How many times have you heard about New England negotiating with someone? Probably never. Who's running the Titans? Former New England guys. So I guarantee they're having conversations. Now I'm going to be at the Combine starting next Monday, and I'll be there all week. And a lot of get done there face-to-face. But there's still plenty of time to get them done. I don't think they're letting Tannehill go. I think Tannehill is going to get the franchise tag. Now, some guys think that's where Tom Brady's going to go. And maybe that's true, but I doubt it. I've heard that one for a couple of weeks, and I don't think so. But in the meantime, they're going to tag Tannehill. He does what they want to do. He functions pretty well. And the running back, I'd come at him with a deal that would be the right kind of deal. But running backs, since the Gurley deal, everyone's afraid to put a running back deal together that's mega dollars because of what happens. So you may end up losing one of them. But I don't think they're going to lose the quarterback. I mean, in the perfect dream world of a fan, they sign the big running back and Tom Brady's the quarterback. And then a year or two from now, they got nothing. They got to think long-term with these deals. And I think you'll see Tannehill tagged and some effort to get Derrick Henry signed.
All right. You mentioned the Combine. I know we'll only mention his name 600-700 more times between now and the draft. But Tua is sitting there in a spot where if he was healthy all year, the Burrow-Tua debate, I don't think would be much of a debate. I think it would be Tua. Others have argued it may still be Burrow with the year he had. But there's the great unknown about health. So what are the questions you would ask of GMs this week regarding Tua to get a better gauge on how many teams really think that he's the guy?
Well, I think that 3 of the top 6 picks are going to be quarterbacks. And so we're down to what's the order? Burrow, Tua, and the Oregon kid?
Herbert, yeah.
Herbert? Yeah, or is it Herbert, Tua? It doesn't really matter. They're going to be gone at picks 1, 5, and 6 unless someone moves up. And if I was Detroit, I'd be selling my spot because you can move down 1 or 2 spots, get pretty good compensation, and probably still get the player you want. As long as you're selling your spot to either the Chargers or the Dolphins, who have to get a quarterback. So I don't know the order as it really will turn out. Everyone will start whispering out loud that they like everybody, and that's always a bit of a ploy. But some of it's got some truth to it. If you went to the Senior Bowl and watched Herbert, you'd be as intrigued by him as I think the Bengals are, and I talked about that on this show right after I got back. Tua has a diseased hip bone that they don't know if it's going to be healthy. And I did make the comment the other day. We had a player, Marvin Jones, sure you Florida guys remember Marvin, Shade Tree as he was known at Florida State. He got the same hip injury. And it was a full year before the doctors could confirm that he had blood flow into the ball joint of that hip. So the bone didn't die. And they don't have that. I talked to Tua face-to-face. I said, have you been told yet that you're cleared? He goes, no, they think it's going to be good. He's very optimistic. He's young. But I don't know if at the draft you're going to have confirmation that he has blood flow. And if he doesn't have blood flow, that thing is going to turn to dead bone and then start, as they described to me, turn into dust.
Well, that's what happened to Bo Jackson.
He's going to make it. Bo Jackson was the first guy of notoriety that had it. But right after that, don't you think we landed up with one of them? And I had to deal with doctors on a weekly basis until we knew. But it took a long time. So I said this to David the other day, Mark. So my wife has a serious injury on her shoulder, and there's a ball joint in your shoulder. And they went in, and the ball joint was cracked, and there was no blood flow. And they repaired it. And the doctor, who's a friend of mine, said to me, we won't know for a couple of years if that thing's going to survive. If it's not, we'll have to do a shoulder replacement. Well, if they have to do a hip replacement on that young quarterback, he's done.
Right.
So these things don't just get a clean bill of health because the kid wants to. So there is I think there's one of you guys that will take a chance on him anyway and bet on that he's going to be healthy. But But they may be taking that chance without all the information required for a long career. And that could change his status from the top quarterback to the third, easy enough. It's fine to say, well, the Dolphins love him. But they love what? They love the guy who was a great player at Alabama, who's left-handed, the only left-handed quarterback in the draft. He's kind of short. I think the guy is going to be very good. But I can't tell you he's going to be healthy. So you tell me what you're going to do. Some guy calls the show the other day and goes, well, you just take out an insurance policy. Yeah, okay. Do you want to collect on it? That means your first-round quarterback is done?
And not only that, the misinformation is out there because over the weekend there were many stories about, I don't know, Dolphins getting scared about Tua, may like Herbert better. I mean, so all that stuff is starting now, and we haven't even gotten to the combine, and he's not going to work out.
Well, and regardless if he does, what Pat has pointed out, we've talked about since the injury, it's going to be a year before we know. And I guess, there'll be certain GMs that won't care.
I would draft him.
I would too.
But I also wouldn't play him in 2020 at all. I mean, Steve McNair didn't play for nearly 2 years. Now, it wasn't because of fear of injury, but I would stash Tua. I would draft and stash. And I got 3 first-round picks and not take any chances with the other 2. But, Pat, you know my theory, first about Tua and about quarterbacks. You just keep taking one till you get it right.
Yeah. No, I would take him too. I think Miami's a better spot because they've got Fitz.
Yes.
If you look at the Chargers, who do they have?
Right.
They have no one to play.
No, I mean, they can't go with Tyrod Taylor this year because the coach will get fired. So, yeah. So
Herbert's perfect for them.
Yes.
And Tua you can put on a shelf, and if it all falls apart and you have to go back in the draft for one, well, so be it. Ever since we adjusted, and I'll leave it at that word, the rookie wage scale, the risk isn't what it used to be.
Correct.
It's not the Sam Bradford contract. And I don't want to minimize the amount of money it's still going to be. It's big. But it's not what it was. And so I would, if I'm Miami, that's the team I think takes the chance. And their owner has this kind of a marketing mentality because he's got empty seats everywhere. I think Tua would be a bigger draw, even if he's not playing. And they'll demand him to be on the field. We all know that. That won't take long. But as long as they say he's not ready to play yet physically, then you're fine. You don't have to deal with the subject. And Fitzy keeps running around trying to win a couple games, and you've done a good job in the draft. And they got so much money in the cap, they can go out and get guys.
Sure can.
My plan for them is get 5 veterans, 3 mega deals, and you got to try to replace talent for talent. You've lost a lot of talent, and it's not just Tunsil and Minkah Fitzpatrick who were in the Pro Bowl. It's the big defensive tackle up in Buffalo that you gave away.
Right. It's Drake.
It's the
it's
running back in
Stills.
Arizona.
Yes. Right.
It's Robert Quinn. It's a ton of guys. So get 5 free agents and at least, and then draft well with all those picks you have, and show the fan base that we have substantial growth and that Tua is getting better every day. That's where I think they're headed.
He's Pat Kerwin, and he joins us once again courtesy of Pinchers, and he joined us on the Goldberg Noon Abraham Law Firm hotline, accessible, approachable, and your legal questions always answered for free at the Goldberg Noon Abraham Law Firm, goldberg-law.com. Pat, be well. Talk soon. Thanks so much.
Yeah, let's keep this in-season rolling along, Mark.
That's right. All the way till June.
For the
3
weeks.
You know what I detected today, Mark? I detected you can't stand free agency.
No, it's complete opposite. No, I love it. But I'm more interested. That's why I asked you the question. Everybody knows who the free agents are. I'm more interested in what teams can get hurt by this. We all know everybody wants to be helped, but who's got to do the work? No. I'm fascinated by the NFL offseason. I love every part of it.
Good. Well, the Vikings they have 6 defensive backs. They're over by $12 million. They have 6 defensive backs ready for free agency, which we talked about last Friday. I'll have another few teams for you that have some issues by the time we talk this Friday.
And 2 of those 6 call the 239 home. He's Pat Kerwin, and he joins us here on Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We've got just enough time for it next here on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
You're clear.
XFL identification. Would you want to take the NFL first? Immediate sideline interviews people liked. How would you like that assignment?
Hey, Ben, you just cost your team with a pick six. Now, if I get to cover Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston, I'm all over that.
Oh, geez.
Hey, Jameis, come on back over. You just threw a touchdown pass, but then you just threw a pick six. Give me the difference in emotions there that you feel.
Dan Patrick.
And here they are.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on Southwest Florida's Fox Sports Radio and FoxSportsFM.com.
Ever purchased an online item and either it doesn't fit, has missing parts, or became damaged? Trying to save a few bucks can end up costing more. My Shower Door is a locally owned and operated family business that measures, manufactures, and installs our own brand of frameless shower doors right here in Southwest Florida. And we were just named Lee County's Manufacturer of the Year. With almost 80,000 shower doors installed, we have the experience and expertise. Plus, estimates are always free. Want to see more? Go to myshowerdoor.com.
No matter where you're boating, with Towboat US, you're covered by the world's largest towing fleet with over 300 ports nationwide. Your local Towboat US companies in Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties are here to help 24/7, 365 days a year. Inland, the river to Lake O, at 75 nautical miles. And new member specials are running all year. Call 239-945-1664 for more information, or visit towboatuscapecoral.com. With Towboat US, you're never stuck on the water.
If you've been denied Social Security benefits, here's something you need to know. The law firm you choose makes a big difference. In fact, Morgan & Morgan wins more than the national average in recovering Social Security for clients that were denied. That means that when you hire our lawyers, you have a better chance of recovery than with the average lawyer. And that's a really big deal. If you were denied Social Security benefits, call us. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Dial Pound Law on your cell. Pound Law, that's all. Offices, Fort Myers and Naples.
We are Fox Sports! Are you or a loved one suffering from alcohol addiction? Now you can obtain alcohol detox from the comfort of your own home with Tella Psychiatry Associates and their My Home Detox program. Get monitored by doctors 24/7 using their advanced technology. No in-home nursing or detox centers needed. It's private, affordable, and effective. Connect with our medical center and be on your way to recovery in a matter of days. Get clean discreetly and conveniently at myhomedetox.com. myhomedetox.com.
If a car dealer asks you for your tax refund, don't do it. If you've made a deposit, get it back. Other dealers want your tax refund at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers. We don't need it. Right now, during the President's Day event, new Jeep Renegade Latitude, $189 per month. New Grand Cherokee Laredo, $269 per month.
Oh, it's that. I know what it is now.
4x4, $279 per month. Over 1,100 Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams. All at the
Wait a
absolute
minute,
best
that
prices
place
in
is
Southwest
bad,
Florida.
you're telling me?
Qualifying
Isn't
purchases
this
with
shrimp?
zero
It's a
down
shrimp
and
joint,
no
right?
monthly payments till August. That's right. Zero
Okay.
down and no monthly payments till August. And exclusive of that offer, Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Fort Myers will give you $6,000 minimum for any trade, in any condition, running or not, at Galliana Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 1/2 mile south of Daniels Parkway on US 41 in Fort Myers. Open every day, including Sunday. Call 239-481-2600. GallianaCars.com.
I love 10,000 miles for your 991 to sign plus tax, stock, and dealer fees, zero security deposit with lender approval. Minimum trade for purchase of select new vehicles and stock units. Only offers to combine.
Hi, this is Rich Castellano. I invite you to come check out the world-famous cigar bar.
Nobody beats the world-famous cigar bar. Southwest Florida's original cigar bar since 1996. With locations in historic downtown Fort Myers, Gulf Coast Town Center, and Cape Coral. Sit at the bar or relax in the lounge in comfort.
I will
with
say,
plenty
I
of
watched
TVs
it live.
At all three locations,
You know what?
where you can watch
I
your
don't
favorite
watch,
sports in comfort.
it wasn't like,
Step into the
and it was where I,
and one of our experienced
500's about to end.
tobacconists
I better
help you
throw
pick
it
the
on.
perfect cigar from our great selection. And the liquor,
I
martinis,
did.
single malt scotches, small batch
Because
bourbons, high-end
they were
cognacs,
so
and a
worried
great selection of
announcing.
craft beers. Nothing can compare to the selection,
Because
experience,
DW is
and
doing
atmosphere
it,
of the
and he's so
world-famous
fired
cigar
up for his
bar
brother,
in
and
historic
he was
downtown
worried.
Fort Myers at the corner
He
of
didn't
First
like
and
the
Henry,
crash.
at the
I
Gulf
remember
Coast
that.
Town Center Mall next to Outback Steakhouse.
That's the only reason
and in
I
Cape
did,
Coral
David.
on 47th Terrace in the Big John's Plaza.
Good times, great cigars at the world-famous cigar bar.
And don't forget Cigar Bar Live downtown.
From the best headlines
The best.
to the worst,
It's the worst thing that ever happened to anybody ever.
prepare yourself and hide the women and children. This is Mark Miller's Good, Bad, and Ugly on Fox Sports Radio.
You're like,
For the good today, we go to the fourth graders at Rutledge Elementary School. They learned about the love of giving back for their Have a Heart projects. The students in Austin sold paper hearts to the entire school to raise money for a charity they chose. They raised over $1,000 and gave it to a homeless shelter. Nice job by them. For the bad, we go to Nashville, where Robert Goodard is accused of smashing a glass door and breaking into a home at the end of the month of January. He stole a TV and a gun from the residents. But he left something behind. A notebook that listed multiple addresses, including one for another home a few miles away that had been burglarized the same day. Investigators were unable to identify him through his notes his daughter left in the journal along with her address. Never take your daughter's notebook to do the burglarizing, David.
Right.
Finally, the ugly. Well, where else would we go but right here in Florida? DeLand, David. It is the Athens of Florida, where Stefan Short was trying to rob a Save-A-Lot. Officers were dispatched and told Short was being pinned to the ground by a manager and a civilian, but he was fighting them. Apparently, as he tried to get out of the store, he was able to get away from them containing him by dropping the shorts. And when the shorts fell and his buttocks was exposed, 4 ribeyes valued at $41 popped out of his pants. He did not get away. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, the 18th of February. This is 2020.
No, stop it.
What's on tap?
You get out of here.
1 minute.
Program. And close the door when you go, because I don't want those mosquitoes coming in here.
You're just so damn proud of yourself, aren't you?
Get busy.
All right, college hoops. 5th-ranked Dayton is at VCU, 8:30 on CBS-SN, 8:30 on FS1, Mark. That's the game for you. Creighton and Marquette, the one game tonight involving 2 top 20 teams. Kentucky's at LSU on ESPN at 9. Florida's hosting Arkansas on the U at 7. The hockey game, nationally televised tonight, is Toronto and Pittsburgh at 7. There you have it.
Look at you.
That's it. No NBA. So, you only have college basketball and NHL.
No NBA till Thursday.
Right. Miller and Moulton. Heck of a show today.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Dan Patrick is next. Thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton on our YouTube channel, Miller and Moulton.
How about that?
We are